Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to the World's Gone Insane. I'm here with Shredder Lives On. How you doing?
I'm good, Sam. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Now we do apologise for the delay because we were waiting for our host with the not so most today to turn up, but as he has not turned up, we are going to run the show until he does turn up. As we always say with Ginger Greek, he's either masturbating, masticating, or hibernating. So I'm sure eventually, after he finished one of those three, he will pop in to say hello and take over from me as the host. So once again, Israel Palestine will be a talking point within this particular podcast. Within the last 7 days, a lot has happened. Misinformation, obviously, for a start, and I guess more. I don't want to say extremism, but within the American side, a relentless act of them just not showing any wavering of their support for Israel, regardless of the fact that the person who is in charge of that country is a fascist moron whose own people fucking hate him. But whether it be a left wing party or an alleged left wing party like the Democrats or a fascist right wing party like the Republicans, they will stick by Israel, whoever the fucking leader may be. And it's very sad that is the case. But regardless of the media trying to do a cover job and a hit job, more people are awake on this particular matter than ever before. And they can't hide the media that is of the atrocities that are genuinely happening. Marches on the street, marches on the street are constantly happening. People are being outspoken within Congress itself. Members of politicians are speaking, with differing opinions. It's all up in the air right now, and I'm very happy that in these times where we have so much more access to media and information because of the internet, shred, people are more aware of what's going on than they would usually be.
Well, the internet, and it's been a great source of information. Unfortunately, it's also been a great source of propaganda as well, depending on what outlets you've been looking at. You mentioned President Biden and the fact that he gave a message to the American people, and he also traveled to Israel, giving his unwavering support to the Israeli state. He's
Yeah.
not the only one. We've had Rishi Sunak, obviously, attend Israel. He shook hands with
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Netanyahu. He's told him, "We want you to win." Other Western leaders have also said that they fully back Israel. I think, with very, very few exceptions. The Irish, for example, I think they have said that they are on the side of the Palestinians. They do not condone what Hamas did, but they are absolutely condemning what Israel is doing in response, which is killing Palestinian civilians. The Scottish government has also unequivocally said that you cannot respond to the attack by Hamas by collectively punishing the Palestinian people. Again, there's been a lot of misinformation, there's been a lot of propaganda, a lot of spin. There have been, even in the mainstream media, there's been a lot of misinformation. The BBC, for example, twice labeled pro Palestinian marches as being pro Hamas,
Pro Hamas, yeah.
which they had to
And
walk back.
even when they corrected themselves, they didn't apologize for the misinformation. They just corrected
Absolutely.
themselves.
They just said we were misinformed. It wasn't
Yeah,
an apology to the people who attended the march because, again, there is no consensus in favor of Hamas. It's people who want Palestinian to be free, to be no longer under occupation, which, let's be honest, it is. The Gaza Strip is a modern version. I said it last week. It's a modern version of the Warsaw Ghetto.
yeah. It's a concentration camp,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
it's the world's biggest open air prison, and I feel as disgusted knowing that our governments are supporting Israel when it's engaged in expansionism like this, to probably the same degree I imagine a lot of people on the left felt back in the day when South Africa was under apartheid, and it
Yeah,
was a white minority ruling over the blacks with an iron fist.
yeah.
But
It,
again,
it,
there's been a
yeah.
lot of propaganda. There's been a lot of spin. There's also some cases where, for example, the recent bombing of a hospital in the Gaza Strip. Now, initially, it was claimed that it was the Israeli Defense Force who did it. The IDF bombed them. There was a tweet put out by someone claiming to be a member of the IDF. This was debunked, by the way. The tweet was put out by an account that had literally signed up and bought a blue check mark about 4 hours before they posted it. The tweet was swiftly deleted. Yeah, the tweet was swiftly deleted, but a lot of people held this up as a confession that the IDF had deliberately targeted and bombed the hospital. Now, it's up in the air. Did Israel do it? Or the Israelis are claiming that it was a Hamas rocket that misfired. The US intelligence services are also saying it was a Hamas rocket that misfired. Al Jazeera have got footage which suggests that it could actually be an Israeli rocket. I don't know. I'm not an expert in rockets. I can't determine exactly what it was. But when you look at the fact that Israel has bombed 22 hospitals in the past, including that hospital that was hit, it's very, very possible that one of their airstrikes, which was taking place in the vicinity, did hit the building. The only thing that is not in dispute is the death toll. Hamas, for example, they put out a statement saying that there were 500 people killed in that building. That's turned out to be not true. The death toll was lower. It's in the region of somewhere between 100 and 300. But again, this has led to a lot of... Going forward, there's going to be a lot of people, every time a death toll figure gets brought up, there's going to be people going, well, actually, or demanding to see 17 different angles of the explosion happening to determine, exactly how many people were killed. And that's not something we really should be discussing in this conflict. We should be focusing on the facts. I would like an independent investigation into what happened at that hospital, but Israel's denying it. It's very similar to when last week we discussed the story about the 40 beheaded babies. The supposed beheading of 40 babies by Hamas, which was a statement put out by a member of the IDF. But nobody was ever able to clarify it. And the Israeli Defense Force response, whenever any credible media outlet wanted clarification or evidence of the story, responded with, "How dare you?" And no, we're not going to investigate this claim.
Regarding that rocket thing, certain people were mentioning like the sort of like the blast and how it compares to some of Hamas's other rockets, and they were showing like some of the rockets that Hamas have actually fired, and the sort of blast. I mean, they're like basically glorified grenades when it comes to the devastation of those rockets, and then you see what Israel has to offer, and it's night and day when you the sound, the impact, everything about it. The blast wave. It's you can't even compare what Hamas has to what Israel has when it comes to the devastation of the artillery. So that's why a lot of people were suggesting that what happened with that hospital and the way it was destroyed, when you heard the impact, there is some footage out there of the missile hitting that hospital. They're saying it has to be Israel. Hamas doesn't have that sort of that sort of military, so that sort of artillery to cause that sort of damage. If you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean, but again, I'm no expert in rockets, so I can't really comment on what the capability is of Hamas when it comes to munitions. What I can say is that hospital has previously been hit. We've had previously the Israelis warn people get out of the hospitals, that they were going to be bombing in that area. So I would not be surprised. I'm not saying that they definitely did it. I'm saying I would not be surprised if it eventually does come out that it was an IDF airstrike that hit it.
Okay. So just information on Ginger. I apologize, everyone. He actually did say he wasn't coming on today. So fair enough. So it looks like the show will go on without him. Gaz, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Anything to add to what we've been saying so far?
No, I only heard about this whole prison thing through Dill Hospital thing was through Hassan Piker talking about it. where he was talking about the fact that he said he was definitely Israel, and then like he was challenged on it. It says, "Well, I think it's more likely that it's Israel than it's not." So, for me personally, I think that the evidence seems to be very strongly in favor of it being Israel with their munitions capability. That Hamas doesn't really have that kind of munitions capability. But as I said, the whole thing has been just horrible. The way it's been framed is like there's some people out there saying that if you support Palestine at all, that you're defending terrorists. It's like, no, I can defend Palestine, its citizens, without defending Hamas or any sort of terrorist organization.
All the misinformation campaigns on full swing. Sorry, go on, Tread.
I was going to say, we mentioned this last week. The fact is, you can be completely against the bombing of Palestinian civilians. It does not mean that you are pro-Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I'm very, very, quite frankly, sick of trying to get people to understand. Because at this point, if you don't understand that, it's willful ignorance.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is that unfortunately. I think people want the misinformation information to campaign to continue. I do believe at the same time, when it comes to Muslim people or brown people, people from the Middle East, a culmination of all of that, we are looked upon as people who we don't give a fuck about. I mean, all the time in the media, when atrocities or natural disasters or certain things happen in white parts of the world, the media on it is massive. But when these same things happen to, as we would say, ethnic minorities regarding this particular country, but obviously they're not minorities in their own, we don't give a shit. Who cares? It's just how it is what it is. Kids starving in Ethiopia, who gives a fuck? We
mentioned it when that Titan submersible went down. Look at how much coverage was given to the Titan submersible when it disappeared, and it was five very, very rich people who were on board that. And then you look at the drowning in the Mediterranean that took place.
All these people,
hundreds of people drowned, and the media gave very, very little coverage to it.
All these refugees trying to come to this country for a better life. There was a boy's body washed up on the beach once. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think you're mistaken when it came to that. When Alan Kurdi, when his body washed up on the beach, that was on every front page in the country. And in fact, it might have been on the front page and it made news. I do feel the general consensus for a lot of people is refugee kid. I don't give a fuck. And that is what I felt regarding the vibe I was getting from people, and that's there was a backlash in particular to one newspaper, the Daily Mail. Now, the Daily Mail had stuck that image on their front page, but it caused their sponsorship deal with Lego to come to an end, because at the time the Daily Mail was doing a promotion where they were giving free Lego toys if you bought the newspaper, collected the token from inside. A lot of people saw that front page and tried to contrast it with the fact that the Daily Mail had ran a column from Katie Hopkins where she called refugees cockroaches.
I'm not surprised that she would say something like that.
So the backlash prompted Lego to terminate their deal with the Daily Mail. They haven't run one cent.
Seems to be the general consensus of a lot of our far-right politicians. They don't look at refugees or ethnic minorities or people like that as human beings, and it's something that is seeped into a lot of people when it comes to this particular conflict. Guys, you got something to say?
No, I was just going to say, like, this. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just very shocked that the UN hasn't physically tried to step in there, because the whole point of the UN is to have peacekeeping forces in this sort of thing, where a force has a significant arms advantage over the people they're fighting.
But that would need a resolution from the UN Security.
Yeah, Gary, just but from historically from the UN, they seem to be verbally, outspoken on particular issues. But when do they ever step in? Like over anything. As long as big America is over like shadowing everything with their massive military capabilities. Unfortunately, UN can just say certain things, but they dare not do anything. You know what I mean? So,
But again,
I feel like it's always been the way
of the UN Security Council, which there is not a full consensus on.
Yeah. Oh, my bloody bird. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Yeah. Dixie, are you there, mate? Is he there?
I think he's just creeping.
He's just creeping. All right, fair enough. Okay, so I wanted to actually show you guys some clips here. I'll try and gather up as many as I can during the course of this. But this one is a beauty. I found on TikTok, and I want to share it with you guys. 1 second.
Is this the city council in Chicago, or is this Bill Maher?
Yeah, this is the city council in Chicago. Not everyone has seen this, but if you... Sorry, Daniel Voss, I'll get to your comments in a sec, mate. Here we go. Here we go. All right.
This today in Chicago, there was a special city council meeting where they talked about what's happening in Israel and as well as Gaza. During this meeting, they condemned Hamas. They prayed for the safe return of the hostages, and they showed support for Israel.
Oh, we should mention the hostages, by the way.
Was talk about anything happening to the
Palestinians. Pause that just a second.
Gaza. And during this meeting, there was
okay. 1 sec.
Just a quick mention, by the way. The U.S. has had 2 of their hostages returned. And this was not anything to do with Israel negotiating any part of a ceasefire or a hostage trade. It was actually the Qatari government who spoke with Hamas, and they managed to secure the release of 2 U.S. hostages. So
I'm sure the Qatari government will get no.
I think we're probably going to see
on that.
I think we're probably going to see more with regard to the Arabic states when it comes to the release of hostages than we will from any attempt by Israel.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have to hear what he said.
Our next speaker is Gabriel Miller.
I would like to add my voice to the chorus here today in opposition to this ridiculous resolution. At a time when the rest of the world is condemning Israel for committing war crime after war crime, Chicago is fiddling around on whether to condemn Hamas. By doing so, Chicago will be doing its part in enabling the genocide of Palestinians. And this resolution acts like it's on the side of innocent civilians. So in that case, I'd like to ask, are you considering a resolution condemning Israel for using white phosphorus against the civilian population? Are you considering condemning Israel for its planned war crime of forced removal of 1 million Palestinians from northern Gaza? Are you going to condemn them for cutting off food, water, and electricity to Gaza? Another war crime called collective punishment. Did it ever cross your mind to condemn Israel when they assassinated Palestinian journalist Shireen Abu Akleh in broad daylight, or when they brutalized the people carrying her coffin peacefully, or when Israeli snipers killed innocent peaceful protesters throughout the March of Return? Did the people in office before you ever consider condemning Israel at any point? Since its inception, when it crammed a country full of people into a 60-mile corner of their own country, creating the largest concentration camp in history, the largest open-air prison in the world? The answer is a resounding no. You never considered it, nor did your ancestors. But unfortunately for you, times have changed. The world is increasingly aware of the crimes of Israel and increasingly aware of the framework of politicians who enable their continued apartheid by resolutions such as these. And in a city like Chicago, with majority black and brown people who have experienced the apartheid-like conditions of oppression in the United States, a generation of young people have emerged who understand immediately that we have everything in common with the Palestinian people and nothing in common with the brutal Zionists under who they suffer. A generation of people who are not surprised when we find out that our politicians, up to our president, spread lies about 40 babies being beheaded in order to rationalize genocide. We're only surprised that they're forced to walk those lies back. But of course, the damage is done. People are still spewing the debunked lies about rape and massacre of babies, even here in this very meeting, when actually there is endless evidence of Israel having killed over 500 babies in the last 48 hours alone. having dropped more bombs in 24 hours than the U.S. dropped on Afghanistan in 1 year. And finally, let it be known that condemning the attack as the actions of some fringe group misses the point of what's going on. The attacks were carried out by a broad coalition of groups from every section of Palestinian society, not just Hamas. That coalition represents a people determined to attain freedom at any cost, and they have arrived at this point in the face of a broad coalition of right-wing Zionists and their supporters like those in the city council who would start a meeting with a prayer calling for their attempt at freedom, a second Holocaust, where are so silent you could hear a rat piss on cotton when innocent, peaceful Palestinians are annihilated day in and day out like the Native Americans of this country. If it were another time, these same people would be condemning Africans for rebelling against their slave masters during slavery, such as Nat Turner or in the Haitian Revolution. Thank you.
Listen to those cheers, man. Listen to that.
Thank
It's
you.
the aftermath
Thank
as
you.
well.
Please.
Yeah.
Now, there's one point I will disagree with him on, which is him saying that there was a broad consensus of groups with regard to the attack. It was actually a Hamas attack. It wasn't a case of a broad consensus among Palestinians to launch the attack against Israel and kill civilians. There was a gentleman, though, who was on Piers Morgan, and he pointed out quite correctly, Hamas has no presence at all in the West Bank when it comes to Gaza. Well, when it comes to the Palestinian territory, Hamas has absolutely no presence at all in the West Bank. Yet they are still bombed and regularly shot by the Israeli military.
Yep.
But again, I agreed with that statement for the most part, just with the one exception, which was when he said there was a broad consensus of Palestinians who were fighting back against their oppressors. That wasn't the case. But the rocket attack that was launched that triggered this whole thing was purely from Hamas.
There's some comments here from Daniel Vance. They reported here that the US carrier group shot down 2 cruise missiles out of Yemen on the way to Israel. That's
I
news
have not
to
seen
me.
that report.
but-
That is news to me. I haven't seen that report.
Well, this bit I do agree with. I don't think most US citizens could point out Mediterranean on a map if asked NIMBY attitudes about the issue. Hearing migrants, they'll probably spout out that Biden had open borders. Yeah, if they asked about Palestinian refugees coming to America, they'll probably say close the borders, but they end up thinking that Palestine is a country that borders the United States.
What
US
Vance is
shot-
saying is true, by the way. The US they shot down 3 missiles that were fired at Yemen.
Okay. We US shut down funds that were meant for the area through a Qatari bank.
But I mean, but the thing is, what's getting me is that the Israel government has shut off like electricity into that area, shut off gas into that area, and this is just to Hamas controlled areas. This is to the area
It's the entire Gaza Strip.
Yeah, exactly. So like hospitals, maybe other places that's probably going to need it, especially with civilian casualties jumping up. It's like what kind of idiots are you that you can't maybe understand that Hamas is just a small group here? They're not going to be coming into hospitals wanting emergency healthcare.
Well, no, Hamas have been known to go into civilian targets. That's a matter of fact. But again, it's not an excuse to bomb said civilian targets just because there's a couple of Hamas fighters in there. What has really disturbed me a lot in the discourse is that we have heard from Israeli military officials, we've heard from the Israeli ambassador that they don't consider the Palestinians to have any claim at all to any of the land there. And in some cases, they've even said that they intend to annex Gaza.
I want to read a comment to you from Sarah Silverman, and this is the thing now, unfortunately, that's happening with liberals and left-leaning people who just don't know any better, or don't want to know any better, or have been so ingrained on following the wrong side that they can't switch all of a sudden.
Well,
Anyway,
keep in mind as
here
well,
it is.
Sarah Silverman is Jewish, so she might feel a close connection to Israel.
No, I know that for sure. At the same time, there are lots of Jews out there who are against all of this, and so I don't hold that against
I'm curious to
right.
hear what the statement is, though. So
Yeah, no problem. There's a very strange thing happening. Many are saying that it's inhumane that Israel is cutting off water, electricity to Gaza. Israel made it pretty simple: release the hostages, and we'll turn it back on. Instead of pleading with Hamas to release civilian hostages, which include babies and toddlers, there are politicians, cuff, AOC, calling Israel inhumane. If that isn't enough for you, Israel does not need to supply Gaza with these resources, which they do for free. If Hamas didn't spend billions of dollars on terrorism, they would be able to build the infrastructure to support themselves. And this is the sort of misinformation I'm talking about.
right, absolutely. That's completely out of order to suggest that, again, it's justifiable in any way to starve innocent people. I mean, again,
Exactly.
the collective punishment, it is a war crime. The US, I know, has managed to open a supply line from Egypt into the south of Gaza. But again, this is a humanitarian crisis. The fact is that Israel has, again, committed war crimes by collectively punishing the Palestinian people for the actions of Hamas. This logic of Sarah Silverman, this idea that, well, if they had just done what if they just done what Israel had ordered, then none of this would be happening. It's ridiculous. This, to me, frankly, is the same logic. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago when we mentioned Pat Kendall, and he had this petition up from a guy called Tom Tancredo called the Jihad Prevention Act. And again, Tancredo had this idea that if a terrorist attack was to be carried out by Islamic extremists, an appropriate response would be to nuke Mecca and Medina. That's the kind of proportionate response we're talking about here. Hamas fires rockets into Israel, so Israel's response is to kill thousands of innocent Palestinians.
Well, I'm not surprised, though, are you? I mean, this is how it's been for a long time, unfortunately. One Israeli person dies through Hamas, thousands of Palestinians die as a response from Israel, and it's always been like that. And I don't want to say necessarily happy, but I do feel that we, on this particular occasion, more than any other time in the history of this conflict, do I feel that we've come to a place now where I'm not sure about resolution. It's hard to say, but something's got to give. You know, I feel like we're at that stage now. You know, because people,
I feel like as the generations have gone on, support for Israel has dropped. It has gone down,
big time.
As long, because more generations have more access to information. Younger generations have access to information about what is actually going on with the Palestinians, how they're being brutally oppressed and how they have been for decades and decades, to the point where I think we're probably going to see, maybe give it another 20 to 30 years, and Israel potentially could become a pariah on the world stage.
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway,
well, it depends. It depends who I was going to say it depends who their leader is, because at the moment their leader is an incompetent buffoon. Whereas if it's somebody who
they've had previous leaders in charge though who made clear that they were all in favor of expansion of the Israeli state, not just into Palestinian territory, but again they have ventured into places like Jordan.
So I want to show you this, because this is what what you were mentioning regarding the changing of the times, Shredder. So here's Nikki Haley.
You either support Hamas or not. This vote will tell the story.
You were with us on the terrorists.
But the story that unfolded was not the one Haley wanted. When Kuwait's draft was put to a vote, it got 10 votes in favour. It only didn't pass because Haley had to use her veto. And then the second vote on Haley's own resolution. This is where all her tactics backfired. Her allies abstained, others voted against, and a moment of diplomatic humiliation, she was the only person to vote for her resolution.
I don't believe that there was in the history of the United States and the history of the United Nations in which a country to submit a draft resolution and not to receive except one single vote, the vote of the party that did submit that draft resolution. If that is not the epic of complete failure, I want you to tell me what is failure in the Security Council. Thank you.
Now, as sweet as that moment was, I have to say this is kind of where the UN is now. It's ownage. You know, like we won't necessarily do anything, but we won't necessarily support you either. You know, and so it's trying to humiliate America on the world stage. If anybody actually genuinely saw that within America, though, that's what concerns me. I don't think many Americans even knew that fucking shit happened.
Oh, probably not.
So
but again, I don't think it was a case of people deliberately out to embarrass America. It was the fact.
Well,
that,
I mean,
again,
no, not deliberately, but
it was an unpopular resolution. Nikki Haley was literally using the language of the Bush administration of "you're with us or you're with terrorists."
It wasn't there to deliberately embarrass America. America just it just embarrassed America. It wasn't there to deliberately embarrass.
And I think deservedly so,
sure,
with that rhetoric.
And then, they did use, and you're right, they did use "you're either with us or you're with the terrorists," and that's obviously brought back memories. History is repeating itself regarding this. People don't want another war. I mean, obviously, rumors are about regarding maybe more troops being sent to the Middle East, and obviously a conflict possibly with Iran in the future. I think people are tuckered out when it comes to war and conflict. Over issues that, in their opinion, doesn't necessarily affect them personally. So, it's going to be interesting. I mean, imagine you being an American soldier having to die for the Israel-Palestine conflict. Like, what the fuck?
Can you imagine? I mean, the Americans have sent, I think, 2,000 Marines down to the area. Now, can you honestly imagine, being the family of one of these Marines and finding out that they had been killed, particularly if it's potentially either a stray bomb or an IDF sniper that has taken them out? Because the
that's
IDF
a possibility.
is not for friendly fire.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, it's not like and they don't want the Israelis don't want the IDF to, have a hair, touched on their head. They want them to kill people from afar. They're not doing any. They'd rather have American soldiers being killed on behalf of Israel than their own. I mean, it's an absolute joke.
The IDF attacks that have happened in the West Bank and happened in Gaza have been totally, undisciplined and unflaming focused, because basically they've just been hailing fire at anybody who happens to be on the Palestinian side. It didn't matter whether they're part of Hamas or not.
Yeah, the IDF got formed for killing Israeli settlers because they suspected that they were Palestinians.
Exactly.
They've killed people who have been clearly marked with jackets that read "press."
Yeah, and we've seen we see how the IDF have reacted. By the way, if you ever want to know anything about the IDF, I'll try and find something online to show you what they're about. But they're bullies. They're basically like the Proud Boys of America of Israel. They throw their weight around. I think they own the fucking place. But unlike the Proud Boys, these guys have got government backing. So yeah, it's quite frightening. It really is. These people are up to, it's scary. I want to now get to another clip, because when it comes to ownage, I do like a bit of ownage, good old fashioned ponage, and this one is definitely in that category. Now, there's a guy who I used to like back in the day who I no longer like anymore. He is now more of a broken clock than anything else, and that is Bill Maher. And this is a moment where, with the broken clock, the time was not correct, but it was for the other guy who debated him. This is absolutely beautiful. Let's check this out.
Well, we wound up with the Muslim Brotherhood. Going to Egypt, we were supporting and propping up Mubarak for 30 years, even as we were cheering for all the Tahrir Square demonstrators as though we were on their side. It was our government that kept Mubarak in power, just like we've done across the entire Muslim world. And it's amazing for you to say that, well, look at all these Muslims. The minute you give them a little bit of freedom, they go wild and they start being all violent. How can you be a citizen of the United States, the country that has generated more violence and militarism in the world over the last 5 or 6 decades, and say, look at those people over there, they are incredibly violent? We play a significant role in what has been happening in the Middle East because we've been interfering and dominating that region in order to have access to the oil.
I wasn't talking about violence. I was talking about theocracy. That doesn't happen here.
No, well, okay.
Shifting the goalposts.
But at the same time, Iran isn't invading lots of other countries and occupying them for a decade, nor are fundamentalist Muslim countries the way the United States is. So these things are interlinked because we are continuously interfering in that part of the world. And so to say...
Really, it's all our fault?
It's not all our fault, but when you send your military for 6 straight decades into other countries to bomb them, kill their children and women and innocent men, prop up dictators, you take responsibility for your actions and say, to the extent that that region...
That religion goes back 1,000 years before our revolution, so I don't think we can take all the blame.
I don't think we should. I think we should take a lot of it. And there's lots of bodies and corpses that have been piled up in the name of Christianity and Judaism as well.
Not recently.
Have you heard of the occupation of the West Bank and Gaza for the last 50 years, motivated in part by extremist views of Judaism, or the wars in Europe, or the fact that there were generals in the United States saying we have to go and invade and destroy Iraq, a country of 26 million people, because our God is bigger? Lots of religions, not just Islam, produce violence.
Well, if I could just make one quick point about Egypt.
That silly liberal view that all religions are alike, because it makes you feel good.
No, it makes you feel good to say our side is better. Those people over there are primitive and violent.
No, it makes you feel good to put a crown on your head and say, I'm a good person. How do I prove that?
You get to ignore the responsibility that your own government has for the violence and instability in the world by saying, look, it's that primitive religion over there that's to blame.
All right, it's time for... It's not our...
Beautiful. Come on. That was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I don't agree with Glenn Greenwald in a hell of a lot, but he was right on the money there.
He was on the money there. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. Glenn Greenwald, of all people. You know, he brought receipts as well, into that debate, just kind of reminding us of certain things during the Bush era as well. Like, fantastic, honestly, fantastic. So it is good to see, and all of this stuff has been brought up within American mainstream. When you watch stuff like MSNBC, they have Muslim hosts there who are bringing up the atrocities of Israel, and just not making everything so black and white, because unfortunately mainstream media in America and in this country too are obviously intertwining Hamas and the Palestinians to be the same thing, and people obviously need to know the difference. And I'm glad that these things are coming out now, so people are truly understanding what's going on. It's just a shame that a lot of people that I admire within American politics as well as within American media, there's a guy called David Pakman who I do like to watch, but he is so all in on Israel. It's disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, Israel can do fucking no wrong as far as he's concerned. It's a shame, really, but I do really, really like David Pakman. I like him a lot. It's just a shame that he's like that on this particular issue. There's people like John Fetterman, the politician, who I like a lot, but he's so fucking far at Israel's ass, he's coming out of their mouth. You know what I mean? He's it's a shame, really, because he's I just think that throughout the years, a lot of these politicians have been brought up on the propaganda of American media when it came to Israel-Palestine conflict, and now they just don't know the difference anymore. They just think that Israel are constantly the good guys, and if they were the good guys, in my opinion, don't fucking kill civilians. You want to call yourselves the good guys? You know what I mean? Then don't fucking kill civilians. If you do that, then you are the good guys. And obviously don't keep them in an open-air prison and turn your country into an apartheid state where people who claim to be Jewish can just come into Israel and take over their fucking land. I don't think... But I want to come to a conclusion to all of this Israel-Palestine. I don't want to take up as much time with it as we did before. But there is no chance of a two-state solution as far as I'm concerned. I think Israelis and Palestinians need to live together in the same land, and that should be the conclusion. Is so splitting the country into two different bits. No, just share the fucking country, share the fucking resources. Palestinians and Israelis within government. That's how it should be in the future, in my opinion.
I think we get to a two-state solution. I mean, look at what happened when when Czechoslovakia broke up. So when
they became Slovakia,
exactly, they became the Czech Republic and the Czech Republic. Look at when Yugoslavia broke up; that became several different states.
Yeah.
So I think probably a two-state solution is the best way forward. Whether or not that happens in any of our lifetimes.
No, I see. I disagree, because I think when you have a generation of people who just feel they can just constantly build settlements and take away people's lands, they'll never learn, And I feel
yeah, that's the thing. I'm not saying that, but that's the reason why I think we need a two-state solution, because again, you have an aggressive expansionist state in Israel, one that thinks that they are entitled to the land by divine right, and you have the Palestinians. I think what would have to happen in order to have a two-state solution, one, you would have to have a ceasefire from Israel and them agreeing to it. And I think you would have to have international law force, potentially even a coalition, similar to the forces that are stationed at South Korea, to make sure that Israel does not breach it.
I just feel that as long as Israel feels that they got America in their back pocket, which they do, America, a lot of countries are America's bitch, but America is Israel's bitch. And as long as they feel that they've got America in their back pocket, they'll do what the fuck they want and break every rule, every international law out there. And we've seen that happening. So this is why I feel the best solution is to intertwine, everyone is living together.
Again, in that part of the world, I don't think that's possible. I think it's going to be such a powder keg. Thank you. That it's going to have to be a two-state solution similar to the Czech Republic and Slovakia, or Kosovo and Serbia.
Yeah, I agree with Schroeder on this. Because the thing is that you've got two groups of people that have been fighting for nearly 100 years, 80 years nearly, and then there's no way that you're going to get them to coexist in any sort of meaningful way. So yeah, I think a two-state solution is probably the only way. But as I think it's going to be after we've gone. To be honest with you,
there was a time when I thought that, but Israel's a fucking tiny ass little country. It is small as fuck. To two states.
So the Czech Republic.
Land. Sorry.
So
Czech Republic is bigger than Israel, isn't it?
We're saying you're talking about
the Czechoslovakia
is a very small. The Czech Republic is a very small country.
Well, fair enough. I've never been to the Czech Republic, but I have been to Israel. So I remember traveling from Tiberias, which is northern Israel, down to Elat, to cross the border into Egypt. It was just done within a couple of hours. It was so fucking quick. Even less than that, I think. So yeah, it's just like I said, it's just a tiny ass country. So I was kind of, I just find it really weird to split a country like that in half, or if they're capable of doing so. But anyway, I want to move on from this subject. We can come up. There are other things we could talk about regarding Israel Palestine, but we can maybe leave that for next week.
We'd probably be covering a lot of we'd probably be covering a lot of ground that we covered last week.
Yeah, for sure. So, anything more to add before we close this topic for the day?
Nope.
No, I've got nothing more to add.
All right. So, very fortunately for us, Ginger Greek has left me a list of stuff, and this is it. So, Sniper Wolf and YouTube allowing doxing. Do you know about that?
Yes. I was the one that suggested we talk about this tonight.
I know a little bit.
I know who Sniper
Wolf. God damn, she's gorgeous.
Yes, I know who she is, but I don't know exactly what she's been accused of doing. I did see doxing, but I don't know.
Okay, well, what happened was last Friday, Sniper Wolf, who has been having an issue with another YouTuber called Jax Films, posted a video of his house to her Instagram story. She basically doxed him. Now, this is something that YouTube in general has cracked down on ever since they had that shooting outside of their headquarters. And I think the shooter actually did post some names and addresses of YouTube staff members. But
yeah,
since then, there had been nothing but silence from YouTube. People had caught them out on Twitter and said, "Hey, look, you know, if I was to dox somebody off the platform, if I was to dox another YouTuber off the platform, would there be any repercussion for it?" And YouTube replied in a tweet to say that would be against our terms of service. I'm trying to find the specific one on the YouTube guidelines, which is oh yeah, here we go. This is on the YouTube guidelines. If a YouTube creator's on and or off platform behavior harms our user, community, employees, or ecosystem, we may respond based on a number of factors, including but not limited to the egregiousness of their actions and whether a pattern of harmful behavior exists. Our response will range from suspending a creator's privileges to account termination. Now, YouTube remained completely silent on Sniper Wolf. They even put up a tweet shortly afterwards, which was in very, very poor taste. They said, would it be too meta to do a reaction video? And a lot of people were absolutely dumbfounded that YouTube would even put something up like this. Sniper Wolf had literally put a video up of Jax Films' house and said, "I'm here." And and it doesn't matter like if she didn't publish the physical address. There's people, you know, who do games of, you know, of geolocation for fun.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Yeah, they look at a wallpaper and one tree outside the window, and they've already figured out where the fucking hotel is. You know, it's incredible. It's incredible.
But they did absolutely nothing up until today. So today, they finally appear to have taken some action. Before this, the only people taking action were G Fuel. G Fuel were one of Sniper Wolf's sponsors. They dropped her. Sniper Wolf, by the way, for anybody who's unfamiliar with her, she is one of the laziest content creators on YouTube. She's somebody that they hold up. She's somebody they hold up in high esteem, you know, as an example of like, oh, you know, check out this great female creator. Literally, she does lazy reaction videos where...
Yeah, she has reaction videos, yeah.
In most cases, the majority of cases, she doesn't credit the people she's reacting to. She just lifts videos from TikTok. Sometimes those videos that she lifts from TikTok, by the way, are videos that people on TikTok have stolen from other people. So things like... one of the, you know, I mean, there's some things that are quite common on TikTok that people wind up stealing from content creators on other platforms. So TikTok has a problem where people have been uploading full Cyanide and Happiness cartoons, or even just clips of them. There's a YouTuber called, I believe it's Special JJ. He does funny little videos of, he takes still images from some of the very, very old superhero cartoons, and he'll, you know, put a funny little story to them. So something like Captain America being on cocaine, for example. And you know, he'll upload that to YouTube and find pretty quickly that some assholes have lifted his video and uploaded them to TikTok. So Sniper Wolf, again, it's very, very lazy, worthless content, to the point where Jax Films has even been able to make bingo cards because he can predict the pattern in her videos. I mean, that's still, there's only two things Jax Videos has ever actually done with regard to Sniper Wolf. One is make fun of her, and two is to encourage content creators who've had their content stolen for her videos to get in touch with YouTube. And in some cases, that content has wound up being removed from Sniper Wolf's videos. So this was the response today from YouTube. So they replied to Jax Films on Twitter when he pointed out that Sniper Wolf had doxed him on her Instagram. So let me just find their actual post. They said, confirming Sniper Wolf has received a temporary monetization suspension per creator responsibility policies. Off-platform actions that put others' personal safety at risk harm our community and the behavior on both sides isn't what we want on YouTube. Hoping everyone helps move this convo to a better place. Now, this has prompted a hell of a backlash against YouTube because a lot of people are saying there's no both sides to this.
Yeah,
Again,
she's doxing.
Yeah, she's literally doxed the guy. Jax Films has done absolutely nothing wrong. Again, he's making fun of her content, which is parody, and it's covered under fair use. And he's encouraged people to get in touch with YouTube to say, hey, what the hell's going on? She's stealing my content. Sniper Wolf also issued a statement. This was her statement. It says, let me start by saying I'm sorry for my recent actions. It is inexcusable. I'm sorry to Jax Films, YouTube, the entire creator community, and my incredible fans for not being a better example for appropriate conflict resolution. Jax Films, while we certainly don't see eye to eye and have our differences, I am sorry for acting the way I did when I should have taken the opportunity to show young creators how adults and professionals resolve conflict by communicating directly, respectfully, and privately. Not for views or content, but a meaningful example of how conflict should be solved. I will reach out directly and hope we can find some time to connect and communicate respectfully. I'd also like to thank YouTube for holding me accountable. I deserve it. Respect the decision and appreciate the opportunity to learn and grow from a true lapse in judgment. Now, again, that apology looks like she'd asked ChatGPT to write it for her.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And here's the other thing, right? Sniper Wolf, again, regularly breaches copyright on YouTube. She steals other people's content. People have put in complaints. Normally, what would happen if you or I did that, if we were regularly taking people's content and putting it in videos, we would have our channels immediately terminated.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't happen to Sniper Wolf. She gets the option to remove the offending clip. And she's not the only one. I've seen plenty of other channels who've done this. They've had complaints made against them for certain content in their videos, and they get to just remove the clip. 5 Minute Crafts, for example, were called out over the fact that they had a video where they were encouraging people to bleach strawberries.
Jesus Christ.
You know how you get like white strawberries?
Yes.
So, white strawberries, like genuine thing, but it's because they're a certain strain of strawberry. So 5 Minute Crafts had a video, and they were encouraging people instead to just take red strawberries and put them in bleach.
That is ridiculous. I mean, you're going to commit murder.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's certain content that I'm just surprised didn't get hit harder. Like, because I'm sure it was YouTube or something like that where it started the trend of people eating Tide Pods.
No, that was TikTok.
Yeah, everything. Oh, but online social media. I mean, but
the Tide Pod challenge started on TikTok.
But I think there's things like the coronavirus challenge as well. We had that stupid girl licking the toilet seat.
Oh, and then she got COVID.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I got some comments here from Ginger, by the way. Welcome to the stream, my son. I guarantee you some simp is looking after her YouTube at Google because she gets away with murmur. Yeah, she does get away with murmur. For sure. And chat murmur. Yeah, GPT for sure. Yeah. He means murder, of course. I'm just taking the piss. But she's look, she's fucking gorgeous, and she's been on the internet. She's been on YouTube for forever. At the same time, she's got clout galore, and those things combined means that she's there to stay. Unfortunately,
I used to dismiss her channel back in the day because I've been around YouTube long enough that whenever I see a channel with something like SS in front of it, I've seen plenty of other channels back in the day with names like Waffen or AH. You kind of think, there's some Nazi connotation there. Apparently, no, it turned out no, it wasn't, because she'd previously been known online as Sexy Sniper. Whereas now, when I've watched her content in the past, I thought, this is just fucking stupid. This is the worst stuff I've ever seen. I'm not surprised YouTube haven't removed her, because you can look back at other content creators that they did absolutely nothing with, even when, you know, they were at the they were probably the most hated people on the platform. Sam Pepper, for example, you know, when he was doing those so-called prank videos where he was grabbing women on the ass, he didn't get removed for that at all. They should have terminated his account straight away. Logan Paul, when he posted the Suicide Forest video, that should have been the end of his account. If not that, how about all the crypto scams that he's been involved with? But no, he's still up. T. Martin and Pro
people
Syndicate,
like Matt Walsh and stuff like that, you know.
Well, I don't even want to go into things like hate speech. I mean, I'm talking about creators who YouTube have went out of their way and protected. So
the Fandom Menace lot, with their misinformation, it's just ridiculous.
Well, again, you're going into the realms of things like hate speech, which again YouTube has done nothing about. But again, there's been major. I'm talking about major scandals. So T. Martin and Pro Syndicate encouraged. They were faking gambling videos. They were not disclosing the fact they owned an online CS:GO skin gambling website that they were the owners of. They didn't disclose that, and they were showing videos of themselves winning and encouraging their fans who were
I see stuff like that all the time.
Underage kids to go and gamble on this website, because there was no verification required. All you needed in order to gamble on, I think their site was called CS:GO Lotto. The only thing you needed was a Steam account, which you can have from the age of 14.
Yeah, and thanks to that,
how did they get money on it though?
What, the skin gambling?
No, Steam. Yeah. Oh, obviously they still have to get their parents' credit cards, don't they?
No. What happens is that you were gambling skins that you'd procured from the game CS:GO. In some cases, they were worth quite a lot of money. So they would actually be traded for real world currency.
Oh God, these NFT things drive me nuts, man. You know,
I'm looking at some other YouTubers they refused to do anything about. So Daddy05, when he was blatantly abusing his kids, YouTube did nothing to shut down his account.
Yeah.
Anisian, when he was grooming,
Anisian
grooming underage teenage girls, rating the bodies of teenage girls. YouTube did nothing with regard to him. PewDiePie made numerous anti-Semitic and racist statements on his channel. Did nothing to remove him. You know, and I look at other things too, like, for example, when fractal wood burning was one of the crazes that was doing the rounds on things like TikTok and Facebook and even on YouTube. So what would happen is there were videos going around demonstrating how to do fractal wood burning and create these wonderful looking patterns on pieces of wood. But the technique was really, really dangerous. At that point, it killed about 8 people. Other cases, it had mutilated the hands of people who had not done this properly. To the point where I know a couple of big YouTubers, so Big Clive was one of them, and Anne Reardon of How to Cook That. They did videos explaining the dangers of fractal wood burning, and yet their videos were the ones that were taken down by YouTube, but the fractal wood burning tutorials were allowed to stay up.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you regarding this SS thing. I don't really follow it that much. I hear other people who I follow on YouTube tend to follow it, and I've got into the information a little bit, but luckily for me, I've never really known this YouTuber or give a shit about this YouTuber. So I'm in a way, I'm kind of happy that this person's not personally affecting me and never will, which is a good thing. So,
but at the same time, it's a horrible precedent though that they're setting.
No, I agree. I just I'm really sorry that I'm finding it very hard. From as much as I'm trying to get into this story, I'm finding it very hard to get invested, because people like her, they're a penny to a pound, mate. There are loads of people like you mentioned Logan Paul and stuff like that. There's who are well renowned even off YouTube now because of things they've been doing like in wrestling and boxing and stuff like that.
Scams.
Yeah, they still and they still got those scams that were in their closet, but somehow they are able to overcome these things and still be involved in some of the biggest industries in the world, regardless of the terrible things they've done. All of this is because of capitalism, unfortunately.
Yeah,
where if you are money,
be on SmackDown tonight, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, if you make money
after both. Yeah, because after and this is after he not only disgraced pro boxing, but after also CoffeeZilla released a video in response to the fact that his content was being used to hype up the fight between him and Dylan Dennis, because they were both going back and forward calling each other scammers using CoffeeZilla's investigations.
Unfortunately for Dylan,
but let me finish my point. CoffeeZilla showed that Logan Paul was involved in a blatant cryptocurrency pump and dump.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I mean, everyone knows about that. But he still ends up spilling of roses. He still ends up on fucking Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. He still has pay-per-view boxing matches. If you can get away with murder now. I mean, look who the former president of the United States was. You can be a fucking con artist and still be appreciated, unfortunately. Players, games, get skins or even game card spikes, sell the price and make money. Yeah, I agree. Okay, back to politics. And we have Sidney Powell flips on Donald Trump.
This is not the only one.
This is not the first lawyer, by the way, who's flipped on Donald Trump. Isn't it, my son? Yeah, lawyers do flip because he doesn't fucking pay them for a start. So you don't blame them for flipping on him. But
this wasn't a case of the fact. This wasn't anything to do with not being paid. She took a plea deal.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't want to go down with the sinking ship. But will this wake up people within MAGA world, or will Sidney Powell now end up being the new fucking Shaitan? And it looks like it would be the latter.
As I mentioned, Sidney Powell's is not the only one. Kenneth Cheesebro in the past couple of hours has also flipped on Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just reported a couple of hours ago. So Sidney Powell has pleaded guilty to 6 charges with regard to election fraud in Georgia. Part of the plea deal is that she'll have 6 years of probation on the grounds that she hands over everything she's got and testifies against the other co-conspirators in the case, which includes Trump. Kenneth Cheesebro has taken a plea deal where he's pleaded guilty to 1 count, and he will get 5 years in probation. But again, part of the plea deal is that he has to hand over all the evidence of his involvement to the prosecution.
Yeah. Quick comment here. I do know about, by the way, new Paul Biden in the head of Trump. That's because of RFK Kennedy, or the fuck you say his name, RFK Jr., because he is taking away votes from Trump by being an independent. So that's what is alleged. Why Biden is head of Trump at this particular moment. And now, even though RFK was very popular amongst the right wing and Republicans, because he could be a threat to Donald Trump, he's now public enemy number 1. Surprise, surprise. All right. I got not much to say on it, though. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, so I'm going to quickly fly through a couple of them. But yeah, Sidney Powell flipping on Trump. No surprise. Many people have flipped on Trump. Trump always ends up smelling of roses amongst his contingent, whilst everyone else.
But in the judicial system, he's not going to this time. In particular,
no, I agree. But
there was also
I have no faith.
The judge has threatened to put him in jail because
I'll believe that when I see that, because unfortunately there's a whole bunch of rules that he keeps breaking constantly regarding being silent and not mentioning certain things, and he keeps going against those things. And until I genuinely see him behind fucking bars, I don't.
Look, I'm not saying he is going to jail at the moment, but a judge has threatened to either fine him or put him behind bars because he ignored a gag order. So there was a gag order.
I think he wants to go behind bars. I think he wants to. I think politically, he wants, if he just gets put into a jail, not a prison, like a overnight police cell, something like that, he will take that as a way of helping him. He will look that that's his way of campaigning, but he's got no policies, so that's his way of campaigning. So I think that's probably what he wants, and he'll still have Secret Service outside his cell regardless. Jordan drops his bid for Speaker of the House. Yeah, about time. That fucking that guy is he's a haven for nonsense. So I'm glad.
Well, here's the thing: Jim Jordan had to drop it because he lost a vote. There was a secret ballot with the Republicans on whether or not he should continue because he's lost now 3 votes in a row on becoming the Speaker, and each time he's lost subsequently, the number of votes against him has gone up. So it started where there were 20 Republicans voted against him for the position of Speaker of the House on the first vote. Second vote, that went up to 22. Third vote, that went up to 25. So, again,
it's getting worse for him.
Sorry?
It's getting worse for him.
Oh, it was getting worse for him. And it didn't help that reports had come out that some of his supporters had been sending death threats to Republicans who were not backing him. That did not play well for him. Now, you mentioned the fact that he defended rapists. That's the thing. That aspect of it was never ever brought up. I did find it quite startling, the fact that the Republicans, there was one speaker on the Republican side who brought up his proficiency in the wrestling mat. I'm surprised no Democrat at all mentioned the fact that when he was the wrestling coach at Ohio State, that he covered up.
Because that's Democrats for you, dude. Because they try to take this fucking high road. They try to take this goddamn high road and not.
Team.
Yeah, but they try to take this goddamn high road and not go down that route and play dirty, whilst the Republicans use something like that in a heartbeat. And it shows you the difference between the Republicans and Democrats. The Democrats only play dirty when it comes to left-wing, policies and left-wing people and shit like that. It's the only time they play dirty. When it comes to dealing with the right, they don't. They try to take the high ground and come across as more morally superior. And that's always been their way, unfortunately.
The one thing they haven't had an issue with mentioning, though, is Jim Jordan's involvement with January 6th.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't mention that because they love going back to January 6th.
They have mentioned it. Several of them have mentioned it. In fact, some of them have outright called him an insurrectionist.
I'm glad they have then, if that's the case. Anyways, that wasn't on our docket, but thank you very much, Daniel, for bringing that up. Okay, now this is what Ginger wrote, so don't shoot the messenger. Ben Shapiro dresses in drag in Daily Wire produced version of Snow White. I know they're talking about Brett Cooper, obviously.
Yes. So the Daily Wire
is playing Snow White. Okay.
Yeah, the Daily Wire is producing a version of Snow White and the Evil Queen, which is due to come out in 2024. And this is that quote from Ginger Greek, by the way, has come from me because at the time when I saw the trailer, I thought it was Ben Shapiro in a dress. I thought he's taken this whole position of men are superior in every single way, and he's taken it to the next step where he is going to play Snow White in a fucking Daily Wire produced movie. And it turned out, no, it was Brett Cooper, who is a quote-unquote actress, and she also happens to be a contributor for the Daily Wire. And she's actually quite popular amongst the Daily Wire fan base. It's not like where a couple years back, the Daily Wire was aggressively pushing Ben Shapiro's sister Abigail, and even people.
Well, she comes across as a hypocrite because she's married, but she still calls herself a Shapiro. Yeah, I mean, he's so full of fucking shit. And people only watching her because she's got. Let's be honest, she's an attractive girl with massive fucking tits, and I think a lot of people were watching her for that because she's than anything else.
But there was absolutely no substance to any of her positions.
Yeah,
and again, there was a lot of backlash towards her from the Daily Wire fan base. Brett Cooper, again, she looks a little bit like Ben Shapiro himself, but she
a little bit, a lot.
Yeah, she looks a lot like Ben Shapiro.
But she also looks like a 13-year-old girl that probably appeals to a lot of the fucking incel nonsense
Well, that's the thing. A lot of her content is designed to appeal to incels. There was a video of hers that I saw fairly recently, which was where she was. How to best describe it? There's a trend amongst conservative incels, which is catfishing on dating websites. So they'll put up a picture of some really hunky, gorgeous man. And what they'll do is they'll put up an account, posing as this person. They'll find a profile of a woman where she's got maybe some very, very suggestive photographs on her dating profile. And they'll start commenting about how, men would respect you more if, you were a bit more conservative.
She's not even fucking married, for fuck's sake.
No, but what I'm saying is that a lot of incels do this catfishing where they try and shame women who have, some suggestive photos of themselves, or even just photos of themselves like out having a good time or whatever. Maybe with a drink in their hand or whatever, and say, they send these women messages about how, you would find men who would be more interested in holding a conversation with you if you didn't post photos like this. Again, it's incel porn, and this is the kind of thing that Brett Cooper highlights in her videos, and acts as if, this is genuine. These are genuine men trying to guide these women on the right path. When again, no, it's incel fantasy shit.
Oh, I mean, the fact is that the budget for this is 100 million, which
really.
100, yeah, I'm not shitting you. 100 fucking million. Now, either this is a tax write-off, or they're doing it in Germany, like you've all used to, and they're going to get some sort of rebate from it. Because there is no way they're making that back. There is no actual way. Because 100 million is literally what Flaming Oppenheimer cost. That's literally Flaming what a majority of Flaming Hollywood blockbuster costs is 100 million quid.
Well.
But the thing is, who is clamoring for a remake of Snow White? I mean,
another Snow White, another one.
Disney, I know, are doing one where Gal Gadot is going to be playing the evil queen, and I think it's Rachel Zegler playing Snow White.
Yes.
Who the fuck is really clamoring for a remake of Snow White?
Dude,
I mean, Snow White is not.
That's the reason. That's the reason they're doing it. It's because they don't have the dwarfs anymore. Because apparently we can't have the 7 dwarfs because that's not politically correct anymore. It's fuck off, that's part of the story. Then don't make some words 7 dwarfs. And then Rachel Zegler is not exactly making the things better for herself by saying the stupid stuff.
If I was a dwarf actor, I'd be pissed that they're excluding me from fucking some of the roles that I can actually do. So that I'll be very annoyed by that personally. That they're thinking they're speaking on my behalf, but no, you're actually taking work away from me because this is one of the few things that I can genuinely do, but I'm actually capable of fucking doing. So that pisses me off. Secondly, regarding the Evil Queen versus Snow White, this is the third time now where the Evil Queen will be hotter than fucking Snow White. And I just find that just so funny on a personal note, regardless. But yeah, all right, whatever. And the mirror is going to fucking lie to the Evil Queen about who's the most fairest of them all, regardless. And another thing is that this version of Snow White apparently is supposed to be the anti-woke Snow White. How are they making it anti-woke?
They're actually having dwarfs. They're dwarfs.
Which version is going to be anti-woke? I mean,
the Daily Wire one.
Oh, the Daily Wire version. Well, I'm gonna take a guess. The Prince Charming is probably going to rape Snow White in her sleep rather than just kiss her.
Oh God.
Again, that's the kind that's the kind of shit probably the Daily Wire would consider anti-woke.
That sounds absolutely terrifying, to tell you the truth.
Again, but I think Daily Wire. What the fuck do you expect?
Yeah, I guess. No, I think obviously they'll have only white people in there. There'll be no white dwarfs. They'll have dwarfs. I think they'll have proper dwarfs in there for sure.
Oh, the dwarfs will probably be people who have physical deformities to the point where they literally can't lift a pickaxe. since the Daily Wire considers anybody who has a genetic deficiency of any kind, so if it's dwarfism or whatever, they consider them freaks. So that's probably the kind of thing you will see in a Daily Wire production. But again, who's clamoring for who the hell is clamoring for a Snow White movie?
Another
this
one.
This is not something I would probably go and see because, one, I'm not a 7-year-old girl, and two, I'm not a 40-year-old woman who wears t-shirts with images of the dwarf, certain dwarfs on them, like Dopey or Sleepy or Grumpy or whatever. Again, I know I'm not the target audience, but I'm curious, why the hell does the Daily Wire think that this is going to appeal to their audience of all people?
As I woke.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Anyway.
their last few movies have bombed. The ones with Gina Carano, for example, that completely fucking tanked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's something very interesting, by the way. I'd like to talk about this a bit later when we go into film and TV. But Daniel Vaughn says, while we're on dwarves, the Time Bandit TV series being developed by Terry Gilliam and Taika Waititi for Apple. Gilliam was offered 2 more movies, but told no dwarves. Like, this is the thing. This is where I feel that they are like anyone who considers who get someone like me who gets called woke all the fucking time. This is what's pissing me off. The fact that they're not putting dwarves in there. It's like you're excluding people. If anything, you're being bigoted. We want we want dwarves in there. Maybe they're worried they can't find dwarves who are good enough actors. I mean, look at Warwick Davis and Willow. The guy was more wooden than his fucking wand. He's an absolutely awful actor. But I'm sure there must be for every Peter Dinklage, you do have a Warwick Davis, but nevertheless, I'm sure there must be they could gather up a bunch of decent dwarf actors to do Time Bandits. I mean, it's ridiculous that they. Honestly, I'm really pissed off if they don't use dwarf actors. I'll be really pissed off. If they don't, it's annoying me. I'm triggered by this. I really am. I'm really triggered by this. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, here's one. This is something once again which has been affecting a few of you guys, but hasn't been affecting me yet. So I'm not into it as much as you guys are. YouTube kills ad blockers. Oh, I'll tell you why it doesn't affect me. Is because I have YouTube Premium, because I have YouTube Music, and I want YouTube Music instead of Spotify, but I find YouTube Music to be better than Spotify. And so by having YouTube Music, I also have YouTube Premium, which is why I recommend YouTube Music over Spotify, because you get the best of both worlds now. So I've never been affected by this, but apparently a lot of other people are. Let's tell a shredder.
So YouTube just recently started blocking ad blockers on YouTube. What happened was people started getting messages to say that ad blockers are no longer allowed. It used to be a case of you could just click off the little message that you got. Then they started clamping down where it said that you had three more videos to watch. Otherwise, your access to YouTube would be blocked. So, and apparently that's what's been happening. So if you've continued to use ad blockers after you've watched so many videos, YouTube just closes your account. And
Terrible.
This has meant that every single video so far that I've come across, bar one I can think of, has been monetized to the point. Well, has been. Let me rephrase that. It's not been monetized, but it says that adverts play over it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this has included things like Jeremy Hambley doing an ad in the video where he does an ad read for the white nationalist book publisher Antelope Hill. That video has had adverts for Wix and Game play at the front of it.
And Quartering is sponsored by them as well.
Well, that's what I mean. Jeremy Hambley, the Quartering. Yeah, he had, as I said at the start of the video, where he does a physical ad read for a white nationalist book publishing company. He's had videos play at the start of it. That video where Tim Pool links even the mention of gay people existing to wanting to teach kids about gay sex and therefore pedophilia, he had videos playing at the start of that too.
Yep.
So, again, it's messed up. And there's a lot of things wrong with the system. Now, I think they've got some things right. They have now got a facility where you can opt to block certain adverts, but in some cases, I think either what's happening is that there's either so many different companies all promoting the same thing, or YouTube just doesn't have the facility to say no, to where even if you block them, they're still playing. So, for example, I've had about 15 or so adverts for the game Hero Wars, which looks absolutely nothing. By the way, if you ever are unfortunate enough to download that game for your mobile phone, it looks absolutely nothing like what is advertised.
Nope.
But
a lot of them don't, mate. It's the same. A lot of them don't.
I've had about 15 adverts, which every time I've opted to block, but I still get more adverts from them. And again, there's some other issues too. I mean, gambling adverts, for example, you can't block them, which is a shame if you have any kind of, gambling issue. Same with alcohol.
And a lot of children watch it. Obviously, a lot of children watch.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Cropping up on the YouTube homepage, so far I have found two get-rich-quick schemes, which have used Elon Musk's face to promote them.
No surprise there.
There have been numerous adverts for dating services, hot Asian, hot European singles, or even a furry dating website.
Lovely.
There's been one occasion as well where somebody has put it up. Unfortunately, I can't find the post anymore, but somebody put it up online. They got an advert for a fleshlight appearing on their homepage. So that's going to be a bit of an issue if you're playing YouTube. If you're running YouTube off your TV at home and you're getting adverts like this in the middle of a living room, that's going to be quite awkward to explain to the kids. Particularly, again, if you're getting adverts for things like fleshlights.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff is absolutely ridiculous, and it pisses me off for somebody who has paid for YouTube Premium. You still get you do get video sponsorships within the videos you're watching, where they end up fucking trying to sell you, Hello Fresh or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So the only reason why they're doing that is because it's a pyramid scheme for themselves. Usually, it's multi-level marketing.
Yesterday, ironically enough, one of the adverts that popped up for me, despite the fact that YouTube has blocked ad blockers, was an advert for an ad blocker.
Genius. Well, Daniel Vaughn says you're just catering your adverts at this point. I report them all as spam. They even show up in my sub feeds as videos. Okay. You report them as spam?
If I go to the YouTube homepage just right now, I've not seen the option to report them as spam. I've seen the option to block adverts. So YouTube homepage, I get an advert for Hermes Paris, whatever the hell that is.
Delivery service.
No, it's not. No, it's not the Hermes delivery service. And besides, they have rebranded in the last year or two, so it's not them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I get things like that, but again, I've had things like hot Asian singles. I'm just gonna bring up. Let's see. So. Yeah, there's been some clickbait kind of things that you find on Facebook. So there was things like these scenes show everything, or the most paused moments in TV, which features pictures of Margot Robbie from Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
So YouTube has put an Expedia advert over a video about a video from Chris Chan. Now, Chris Chan, for anyone who's not aware, was recently just had charges dropped over incest with his mother or her mother. I can't remember. I can't remember the terminology. Her, right? Thank you. But yeah, Chris Chan was involved with a case of incest with her mother, and her mother is in her 70s and suffers from dementia.
Oh man!
Chris Chan, by the way, admitted to it. So there's a fake Nvidia advert.
Did he admit to it so he could get clout, or did he genuinely?
I really don't know. Why
you have no idea what
something like that to get clout.
The Island Boys. The Island Boys are a couple of twin brothers who are fucking making out with each other. Yeah, I mean anything to get yourself famous nowadays.
Well, Chris Chan does have some mental issues that maybe seem that have not told the truth a lot. So, but let's hope to whatever comes out there that she's like this time.
Other adverts have included an advert for a game called Sinister Squidward, which is a SpongeBob SquarePants fan game, which the image shows Squidward torturing SpongeBob. There's a video. Let's see. There's an advert for a mobile game called Dungeon Hunter 6, which is catering to people with foot fetish, I suppose. An advert from Ryan McNally. Again, furry dating websites, and an advert for a fake company using the image of Mr. Beast.
Yeah, there's a burger shop near my house now called Mr. Beast Burgers.
Yeah, they're over the shop now.
They aren't they aren't a genuine premises though.
They've got nothing to do with Mr. Beast.
I don't remember what the hell the name of the term is for them, but it's something like ghost restaurants or something like that.
Yeah, it's they only do online deliveries and stuff like that. You can't go to them. But the fact that they're calling themselves Mr. Beast Burgers is showing that they are trying to capitalize on the internet superstar. So, Daniel Barnes says
there's also been adverts. There's also been adverts for Temu, which is effectively the new version of Wish. It's another website that sells you fake goods. There's also been an advert as well.
But I bought some stuff off Wish, and I've been pleasantly surprised.
Oh, you can be pleasantly surprised by them, but there's a lot of people who are, horrifically disappointed. Another thing that's been popping up has been full music videos. So, aspiring musicians have been putting full music videos up. Thank you, Ginger. It was Ghost Kitchens I was looking for. But yeah, another thing, kind of advert that's been popping up, some aspiring musicians have been putting up full music videos as adverts.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, I'm not surprised by that.
So it's getting quite obnoxious. I mean, to the point where YouTube is becoming almost unwatchable. If I would say if you use it as entertainment in your living room, you've got kids, it's now becoming practically unusable.
Yeah, like I said, having premium has been the only way I've been for me to get around this. If you do have Spotify, cancel your Spotify account, go with YouTube Music. That way you have YouTube Premium as well, and you don't have to deal with all this fucking bullshit anymore. That's the only advice I can give you guys.
The thing is as well, YouTube Premium could do something as well which would be a big help, and that's bring back the dislike option. The dislike. But let me rephrase that. The dislike option is still there on videos, but it's not publicly viewable unless you've got an extension of some kind. Now, I've got an extension on my browser that allows me to see how many times a video has been disliked. I've, briefly clicked on a couple of Sniper Wolf videos, and she's been ratioed to fuck, and deservedly so. But there's other times where the dislike bar is very, very handy. So things like, for example, people who put up tutorial videos on how to fix a computer or how to do some basic DIY. When people stick up basic tutorial videos and like that, if they've been massively thumbs down, so let's say it's like 17 thumbs up, 250 odd thumbs down, just click away. This is not useful information you're about to get. That option is no longer there on YouTube, unless you've got a browser extension. YouTube Premium should be putting that back.
Yeah, I agree. I do miss the dislike button when it came to when it comes to knowing what the ratio is regarding people disliking, and yeah, it's unfair. Like all these little changes they do, it does piss me off. I'm sure the ads are reading metadata. YouTube is horrible about sharing data. If you create video link and someone uses it, prepare to see recommendations from person's feeds. Yeah, I mean, we by the way, just so you know, like we are renowned here at NerdTube for doing fan film reactions, but we always give credit, whether we dislike their fan films or not. We always point out who made these films. We leave a link to their YouTube channel. We actually ask people to subscribe to them, especially if they haven't got many subs. We always try to
going back to the whole Sniper Wolf thing. The fact that she was stealing content and not crediting anyone that she was taking.
What we're doing here, kind of doing that to a degree. It's merging with what we're talking about now, so it's all YouTube at the end of the day. So, but I don't want to talk about that harlot too much. YouTube Premium is too much. If it was £5, I get it. Yeah, I guess
$12.99. You're talking about the same price as most premium TV subscription services, and YouTube.
No, it's not that. But I think people. Well, I don't know. I mean, for me, like I said, because of YouTube Music, and the fact that I do watch YouTube probably more than anything else online, it feels like it's worth it in that sense. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would like it to be cheaper, but I can't see myself now not being on premium anymore because fuck adverts. I'm not going back there again. Anyway, let's move on. Space Karen bans popular trans user on Twitter for showing his community notes are a joke. Do you guys know what that's all about?
I do, yes. So
okay.
There was a popular trans user on Twitter called Juniper. And Juniper joined in some trolling of Elon Musk, Space Karen. So what's happening
he's recently... Space Karen, okay.
Yes. Now, yeah, there's numerous nicknames for Elon Musk, dude. I mean, there's Douche Wayne, there's Phony Stark.
Douche Wayne.
Apartheid Clyde.
Apartheid Clyde.
But
that's brilliant.
Anyway, Space Karen decided to change a feature on Twitter, which is if you were to post a link to a news article, so let's say you were to post a link to a story regarding the Israeli-Palestine situation, the fact that the US has managed to get 2 of their hostages back. What would happen is on Twitter, it would only show up as an image with a small link in the corner saying BBC News. There would be no headline attached to it at all, so you could make up your own headline. So what people were doing was they were trolling Space Karen, and they were linking news articles involving him on Twitter, and making up their own headline.
It was so good.
These headlines included things like evidence of cannibalism found at the home that Elon Musk sold last year, or Elon Musk about to dissolve SpaceX, or let me find what some of the others were. So, Elon Musk found dead at Twitter HQ of an apparent suicide. Elon Musk involved in secret romance with Ben Shapiro.
Love it.
So there were things like that, and Juniper has form for putting troll stories out there that have, in some cases, been picked up by mainstream news. So mainstream news, for example, picked up on a troll story that she started, which is that Mars were removing the chocolate vein from Snickers bars because they resembled a penis.
Oh, yeah,
I remember that one. I remember that one.
People thought they were serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. But that was a story started by Juniper as a joke.
That is
Juniper is also responsible for the term Goblin Mode going mainstream, because she put that in a story trolling Kanye West.
So what happened? Space Karen banned her account.
Well, what happened was Juniper she'd been posting some of these stories mocking Elon Musk, and she then posted one where there was she linked an article from Fortune.com, and the headline she put in said, "New scoop: evidence showing Elon Musk is a paedophile mounting quickly. Now, a lot of people saw that as fair game because Elon Musk, of course, had on several occasions referred to people as paedophiles without any evidence. The main one everybody remembers, obviously, is the hero who got all of those kids out of a cave. And Musk called him a paedophile because he had said that Musk's idea of putting this giant metal tube through winding caves or sending in a mini submarine were just not feasible. You needed somebody who knew what they were doing when it came to spelunking to actually go in and rescue the kids. So, a lot of people thought it was fair game. Now, Musk definitely saw the tweet with that story because he replied to somebody who had quote tweeted Juniper and also doxed her.
Oh,
so he definitely seen the tweet. What happened was people had stuck up community notes, like some people doing a lot of fake news stories saying this story's not true. Juniper, her community got involved, and they changed the community note. The community note under Juniper's story was changed to read, "This is true."
Yeah.
So it went to show that Twitter's community notes, which were supposed to replace their fact-checking department, which Musk did away with, are just a joke. It's a popularity contest.
Of course, yeah.
But because this was exposed, Musk closed down Juniper's account.
Ah, so the pedophiles and the white supremacists get to stay out, but Juniper gets taken down.
Yeah, again...
Mr. Freedom of Speech for you.
Well, Mr. Don't prove me wrong or I'll fucking silence you.
Well, again, let's look at the people. Let's look at the people Twitter have protected. I mean, we've mentioned before Don Lucra, a guy who posted actual images of child pornography.
We don't need to go through
3 million times.
Yeah,
Musk personally reinstated the guy's account. Then you look at other accounts like Haya Rychik, who runs Libs of TikTok, and she's regularly been given special treatment by Twitter. I mean, she regularly spreads anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric. She calls gay and trans people groomers and pedophiles all the time. And then what she does is she posts the publicly available information of doctors and hospitals and schools where she's claiming that all this stuff is being done, where they're teaching that, being gay is acceptable, or they're giving gender affirming care to teenagers. So she posts that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, these institutions and these individuals get bombarded with death threats and bomb threats. And Haya Rychik then plays innocent and says, well, had nothing to do with me.
She's a Jan 6 insurrectionist as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, she engages in stochastic terrorism, and yet Twitter allows her account to stay up. But again, here's somebody who exposed the fact that Twitter's community note system is a fucking joke. And she gets banned automatically as a result of it. So much for Elon Musk, Mr. Free Speech, Mr. Comedy is now legal on Twitter.
Yeah, he's full of shit. He always will be full of shit.
Twitter, by the way, is looking at facing being banned in the EU.
No, I'm not.
Musk has tried to grab some headlines from this. He's tried to suggest that he's going to be the one to turn them off. He's trying to get ahead of the EU on this. Which the EU, I think it was last year, they said that Elon Musk and Twitter are not complying with guidelines that they've got for social media platforms, which is that they have to remove fake news and they have to remove Russian propaganda. Now, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much every other platform has had to comply with this. They've all had to take down fake accounts that were promoting Russian propaganda or that were spreading misinformation, fake news, and potentially even influencing elections. They've had to take those accounts down. Twitter didn't do any of this. Musk decided that if he was to just walk away from these regulations, he wouldn't have to abide by any of them. The EU has said, no, that's not the case. You have to do this. If not, we will turn off Twitter across the whole EU.
You really genuinely, like Donald Trump with money Yeah, I mean, he really is.
Well,
this
he's
guy
one of the main. He's one of the main people who spreads fake news across Twitter. If you've got a fake story of any kind, the odds are Musk will pick it up and he will spread it.
Yep. Biggest spreader. Sure. Hello, Sazzy13. Welcome to the stream. Palestine. Israel. Palestine. Doesn't mean we want Israelis slaughtered, though. Let's get that across.
Yeah.
Children. But anyway, moving on. Next story.
Okay, so we already mentioned Twitter. So they're implementing the two-tiered subscription service. Also facing being banned. You mentioned being banned in the EU, but
we're mentioning being banned in the EU, but
this is the end of Twitter for sure.
They're implementing a subscription service. Now, there's two subscription models you can take. If you don't pay for any kind of subscription, by the way, what will happen is you will only be allowed to read things on Twitter if you've got an account there. You won't be allowed to post anything at all. So the new system is that you pay, I think it's like $1 a month, and you'll be allowed to do a certain number of posts across that month. If you want the full service, you've got to pay the $8 a month that you pay for a blue check mark. So this is how desperate Twitter have got now. The fact that if you pay that $8 a month, by the way, you get an advert free. So that's a great incentive for companies to want to advertise on the site.
I don't get like the desperation. Twitter is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. Like,
but it's not making any money.
But
this is why
it make any money.
No, but platforms like Twitter and YouTube should become a public utility and treated as such. Should it be? They need to move away from being privately owned and be put in the public space.
That's part of my presidential campaign.
Perfect. Does that come along with teabagging alt-right people as well?
Not that's not in my 10 pledges for America. So,
you fucking sell out. All right. Yeah, but I think what's going to end up happening with Twitter is I think it's either going to implode or Musk is just going to sell it and cut his losses. But then he's in a world of shit anyway, because with the investors and all of that.
Yeah, because again, he's taken it from he purchased it for $44 billion. It's now worth about $8 billion.
If that now.
If that,
yeah. Anyway,
I'm personally surprised that he wants. I mean, like, the guy's got money. He doesn't need any more money. Yeah, he wasted a lot of money on this, but just make it his personal play tool.
He'll make that money back through SpaceX and Tesla, because he gets government handouts there. Yeah. So he'll make the money back from there.
Yeah, and the fucking interest he probably gets on his fucking money anyway, so.
Yeah, equality for all, teabagging for everyone. Yeah, well, exactly, Vance. You can't, not teabag Americans just because you want to be president. It's all or nothing. Quite frankly.
I've already got policies to make lobbyists fight in an underground fight club. So.
No, that's great. Yeah, oiled up and ready to fist each other.
Well, that's politics done now, fellas. On to film and TV.
Well, unless we want to actually just go into my presidential campaign very quickly.
Yes,
please.
I will be running against Cenk Uygur for president of the United States.
Cenk Uygur. Go on.
For anyone who is unaware, I have decided to throw my name in for the U.S. presidential election. Now, I know you might be thinking, how could you be president when you're not even an American, you mad, sexy Scottish socialist bastard? Well, I will be issuing a challenge, much like Cenk Uygur, through the Supreme Court. And my challenge is going to be based on the fact that I have been in a relationship for over a decade now with an American woman. And during that time, my DNA has been left in many a hotel room in that nation for so long without being deported that it technically qualifies for American citizenship. And as it is my DNA, that means I would qualify too by proxy. So now that technicality is cleared up, you might want to know about my policies. And trust me, I've got plenty of those to tell you. Now, normally I would tell you to go and pick up a copy of my book. It's called Shredding the Constitution. You can get it for $24.99 from most good bookshops. But I'm going to give you my 10 key policy platforms for free. Policy number 1, mandatory conversion therapy. That's right. We must end the debate once and for all with regard to gay and trans rights in America and protect the nation's children from indoctrination. So, on my very first day in the Oval Office, I will pass an executive order which will force Ben Shapiro, Alex Jones, Steven Crowder, Dennis Prager, Tim Pool, and various other talking heads to be forced into homosexuality or gender reassignment. Perhaps once they feel the hatred that they inflict on others for themselves, it'll change their perspective and get them to tone down the rhetoric for once in their fucking lives.
I think they'll like it.
Policy number 2, fighting corruption. Under my administration, all lobbyists will have to attend an underground fight club beneath the Congress and rack up a streak of 7 wins before being allowed to pitch their ideas. Now, we want to see dedication and commitment to their proposals, not simply people pitching ideas because they've been paid by special interest groups like the Koch brothers. And also, as a bonus, these fights will be streamed on internet pay-per-view, and all proceeds used to fix the mess that special interest groups have previously caused on America. Gun control. This is another big policy of mine. The Second Amendment will be interpreted literally, and for only the era in which it was written, which means all Americans are only allowed to own a musket, and anyone who wants to own one must sign up to a well-regulated militia if they want to continue their ownership. Oh, and by the way, if anyone wants to defend the Second Amendment, they must be able to pass a written examination on what the rest of the amendments are in the American Constitution.
Oh, that's everyone fucked then, isn't it?
International relations. Under my administration, Marjorie Taylor Greene is to be appointed the first ever U.S. ambassador to the Antarctic.
Lovely.
Improving
it's all
American
white there,
education.
she'll like it.
Improving American education. Fox News is to be nationalized and replaced with PBS children's educational programming. It's back to school for their viewers. InfoWars, meanwhile, will be outlawed as InfoWars is to be outlawed as a terrorist propaganda network, and OAN is to be banished to the Phantom Zone. Free healthcare, but only for some. So if you insist on paying as much as a new car for health insurance every year, you are free to do so. Your neighbors, however, have permission to laugh at you as they receive all their healthcare completely free. If you've ever been involved at the senior level of a major health insurance or pharmaceutical company that has gouged Americans, you will receive discounted treatment. However, all procedures are performed rectally.
Even a root canal.
Of course they are.
So, employment, fair pay, and the economy. All companies will be required to pay a minimum $20 per hour minimum wage. CEOs will be limited to an annual salary that is at most 5 times the salary of their lowest paid employee. The government, during my first term, will be creating jobs for the future to help secure America's economy, which will specifically be in the form of manufacturing guillotines. So the next time that Wall Street or any other billionaires play fast and loose with the economy and causes economic strife, off with their heads.
Lovely.
Tackling hate crime and improving race relations. This is a very simple one. Twitter is to be nationalized and Elon Musk to be deported to Mars.
Love it.
Religious equality. Since many religious figures and institutions do not understand the concept of the separation of church and state, then I say, let's stop blurring the lines. So I will pass an executive order that eliminates the tax status of any and all religious institutions that try to interfere or influence American politics. This will remain in place until they either cease their involvement in politics or their God strikes the president dead by lightning. Securing the border. Now, we know this is a very hot topic in America, so my first term as president, to enhance the prosperity and increase security in the nation, a border wall will be built around Texas. We don't want them. So they can have their independence or be Mexico's problem from now on.
You put a wall around Florida as well while you're at it.
So that, my soon-to-be fellow Americans, is my pitch to the nation, and it's backed up and fully endorsed by my running mate, Kermit the Frog. I believe that once I secure 98% of the vote in the Democratic primary, Joe Biden will stand down and leave a credible candidate to fight the Republicans. And why not me for that candidate? So if you support my vision for America, please send all donations of money, blood, sperm, Bitcoin, conflict diamonds, or Amazon gift cards to Schenk Uger is totally scamming you all. 1060 West Addison Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60613 USA. Thank you all, and Optimus Prime bless America.
That is fantastic. Well, very good. Very good. Very, very good.
Love it.
So, I'll vote for you in a heartbeat.
Between them and New Mexico.
I say to Schenk, I say Schenk Uger, bring it on. I'm ready for the fight.
That's right. Careful it doesn't turn you into a kebab.
Daniel Vance, I hope you record everything that Shredder has said. You actually are an American, so you got a better chance of being president and running those policies. Texas is putting up barbed wire between them and New Mexico, not Mexico, but New Mexico, all to stop migrants. New Mexico is a neighboring state. It's America.
Shredder, are you going to be leaving? I know you've left your semen samples all over the states. Will you be leaving one on an intern's dress?
No, unless Steph Zula is my intern.
I thought as much. All right, it's very amicable of you. Very loyal and presidential. Well, unpresidential actually, because they're all a bunch of cheaters.
Okay, so I'm going to quickly start this new subject. I'm going to run downstairs and hopefully be back in time to continue this subject. Sting announces his retirement. Let's go.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go for it, Gaz. Yeah, you've been quiet all thing. I'll switch you over with Zam till he gets back.
Okay. Sting is my favorite wrestler. So people know, I'm telling people now, I'm trained to be a professional wrestler at the moment. I've been training for about a year, about a year and 2 months, let's say, at this current time. And Sting is my favorite wrestler because even though WWE was what kind of introduced me to wrestling, so I think it was like, the Macho Man Randy Savage era. That my mate, because my mate used to have it on Sky. It was watching it when it used to be on ITV. I used to watch it on ITV, and I used to watch him and Vader near enough kill each other every week. I mean,
Saturday night.
Yeah, because Vader. The thing about Vader that's cool is that
don't go off on a tangent, mate. Just talk about Sting.
Subject, which is Sting.
Please stick to the subject.
So Sting, so Sting was just like my two wrestler. I love the face paint, I love the screaming, I love the finger splash, I loved everything. And the guy's 64. He's going to be 65 when he retires. So he's earned his keep. And fair play to him. He throws himself off flaming balconies onto flaming tables at 65, which, isn't any mean feat, I wish he wouldn't, but...
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, let's address the actual subject, since apparently Gary completely glossed over it. Sting came out on AEW Dynamite. Sting came out on AEW Dynamite and announced that he will be retiring at AEW Revolution 2024. So he made his AEW debut at Revolution 2021. He's leaving at 2024. And he will be close to 65 years old at the time. And he says that will be his last ever match. So the speculation is already running high about who his last opponent is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a singles match, because I don't think Sting has once wrestled a singles match ever since he came to AEW. He's worked mostly tag team matches.
Yeah.
Or trios matches.
I think it is going to be a single match, and I reckon it's going to be against Darby Allin, just to give Darby Allin the rub.
Ric Flair. Bring Ric Flair out of retirement.
Well, Ric Flair has been vocal about wanting one more last match.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, he can't do any worse than his previous last match. him and Andrade against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett.
Jesus.
I mean, where Ric Flair passed out during the match.
Yeah. Yeah. I think.
Okay, well, I think it'll be Buddy Boy Bruiser Baloney. Quadruple B. Yes, bring it on, baby.
It is about a shame that it means that we are going to be losing both Sting and Daniel Bryan in the same year.
Or is he going to retire next year as well?
Daniel Bryan is also retiring next year.
Oh yeah, yes.
Daniel Bryan's in that position in his career where he retired and he'll be back after 5 years. Or some shit like that.
Well, no, Bryan Danielson is he's winding down as a full-time wrestler. I think he'll still be around as a special attraction every once in a while. But as far as full-time is concerned, he's quitting next year when his daughter turns, I think, 7 years old.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. Is he still with Brie Larson? Brie Bella.
Brie Bella, yes.
Yeah.
Him and Brie Bella are married.
Now two kids. So I think just wants to spend time with his kids. He could probably produce from home as well if need be. He'll be a producer.
With regard to Sting, I mean, I can see him potentially moving into, I don't know, maybe a commissioner figure down the line. But at the same time, when it comes to his in-ring career, I am quite glad he is actually getting to go out on his own terms. I mean, 2015, he was kind of forced into retirement because obviously
that stupid fucking buckle bomb.
He injured his back taking the buckle bomb from Seth Rollins. I think they found after he wound up being taken to hospital that he had stenosis.
Stenosis.
Stenosis. Yeah.
Stenosis.
He had spinal stenosis.
Stenosis. Yeah.
So, it's why he's not taken anywhere near as many bumps as he used to back in the day. I mean, in fact, it's rare he takes any bumps during his matches if you watch them.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy's still for his age, incredible. I mean, I'm with Gary. He's one of my all-time favorites as well. Who he goes out to, I mean, it'll probably be a tag match. Edge and Christian would be a good one if they, by the time everything unfolds and they end up reuniting by next year, that would be a good one to go out on.
Do you know what? That's a decent shout there, Ginger, actually.
Yeah.
But
Darby Allin and Sting, why not?
I would like to see. I'd like to see maybe if they bring in their version of developmental, like an NXT of their own, and then he could play that sort of Shawn Michaels sort of role, which is what he's doing at this moment in time. Something Sting is going. Someone like Sting, even if he's not wrestling, he needs to be around.
Oh,
he needs to be intertwined.
It's why I've suggested the odds are he might probably move into more of like a commissioner role. For example, WWE recently brought in Nick Aldis and they made him the general manager of SmackDown and they moved Adam Pearce to Raw. And neither of them has been brought in as like a heel authority figure, which is quite interesting. And it's something that I've been clamoring for a while, which is, you need a babyface authority figure, somebody who's there on the side of the fans and who's there to make sure things are done as fairly as possible.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing I want to see, and that's something maybe Sting could fit into if they were to keep him on AEW programming. As far as his last match is concerned, I mean, there's a number of possibilities. I do not think he's going to work a singles match because, again, I don't think he has worked a single match at all ever since he came to AEW. I could potentially see maybe him and Darby Allin challenging for the tag titles just once before he retires. Maybe that would be his fight. That would be his last hurrah. I don't
maybe
know,
a hardcore match, which always helps people with limited abilities. That would be a great way to go out. In my opinion.
Yeah, you're right, Sam, because he engages in a lot of those as well. Yeah. Could do a TLC match against Edge and Christian. There you go. That's the way to go out.
But also, I'm thinking of guys like who could bump and feed for him. Yeah, and could do with a rub, win, lose, or draw. And I'm thinking that might be a team like the Gun Boys, Austin and Colton Gunn. I mean, they would bounce around for Sting like a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they would probably benefit greatly from the rub. Having Sting's last match, let's say they were defending the tag titles against Sting and Darby Allin. Now, even if they lose, there's no shame in it. If they win, they get a hell of a rub from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I against that. Sorry for yawning. I'm not against that at all. I think it's good. There is quite a good chunk of people that could give Sting his final match. I mean, especially in the tag team division, except for the Young Bucks. Do not fucking have your last match against the Young Bucks. Bollocks to that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think who makes sense. As I said, the ones that make sense are Darby Allin.
If maybe by some miracle the Hardys come back, so
the way
a bit of redemption for Jeff.
The Hardys have been back. I mean, they were both in the Dynamite Battle Royal.
Yeah, but they don't need the rub though.
But
neither of them do.
Who do you put him against? For the simple reason you're not going to be booking him against a major heel who's going to be coming out, for weeks saying I retired Sting, because that everybody knows this is Sting's last match, no matter what.
Yeah. Well, unless you get a heel that does that, and everyone's like, actually, and he's like, no, I retired him. He told me personally he wasn't going to retire, and now I made it official. Or some, I mean, just thinking that stupid crap.
If you were to have like a team again, let's say Austin and Colton Gunn, and they were successful defending the tag belts against Sting and Darby Allin, and what is Sting's last match, then okay, they've got great heel heat by coming out and taunting Darby for several weeks or even a couple months, and saying you couldn't get the job done with your mentor. We made sure Sting went out a loser.
Yeah, you could look. Yeah, I don't see why not with that, or you bring back, because obviously Jungle Boy's coming back, so maybe reunite him with Twatosaurus as well. That could be a match.
I mean, there's so many possibilities, but again, it's going to be interesting when he winds down his career. I'll be curious to see who they put him against. I'll be curious to see how they book him between now and then, in particular. And I'll be curious to see what happens afterwards. Is he going to stick around with the company, or is he done with wrestling altogether? And I don't mean as in like, just as in ring career, but is he just going to walk away from the business?
Yeah, like entirely? Stone Cold just completely walked away and just does like podcasting and occasional pop-ups.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
he seems a bit over the hill to do podcasts. I mean,
no, he won't do podcasts and things. I'm just saying, like, Stone Cold just walked away from wrestling, no problem. I know he had a match against Kevin Owens.
It's weird. It's weird in a way, like, because the guy's in his early 60s now, and I almost feel like
mid-60s.
I wish that he did. Yeah, he's mid-60s.
He'll be nearly 65 when he finally has his last match.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I almost feel like he had some other things in the pipeline prior to. I know he's been in a couple of movies and stuff like that, but you almost feel like if he did some other stuff, then that bang, he could jump straight onto that. But he's been so dedicated to wrestling for most of his career that I just can't see him doing anything else. I really can't. I mean?
I can't see him walking away from wrestling. I could see him retiring, obviously, but walking away completely.
Commentary, maybe.
If he didn't do what Shredder said, which is probably likely, he could go to do agenting, maybe. Because I mean, he is. I mean, hey, he's more respected in the locker room than Sting.
Yeah, I mean,
a trainer.
Train the new guys.
Training for sure, but he'd be like a celebrity trainer. Like he won't be like a main trainer. He'll be somebody like to give awe to up and coming wrestlers. Here's Sting, and he's giving me some advice now before he fucks off again. I mean,
training. If I was AEW, I'd be picking up guys like Shelton Benjamin or Dolph Ziggler for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god, yeah, Shelton Benjamin.
For sure. Oh my god.
Thought. Yeah,
you'll be creating guys who know how to put people over really well. If you
Ziggler teaching people how to sell. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, athleticism is personified with those two. I mean, they're still. I mean, they're in their fucking 40s, and they're better shape than people in their 20s. and they look younger than people in their 20s.
Yeah, I mean, Shelton Benjamin's nearly 50. He's a year away from 50.
Yeah. He looks
Brian
amazing.
Danielson is another one who you would want in a training facility.
Who?
Brian Danielson is another one you would want in a training facility.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Claudio Castagnoli is another one.
Yeah. Imagine that quartet and you open a performance center with them running it. Oh, mate, fucking WWE will be pissing blood in a couple of years if you churn out the quality that they fucking wrestle to.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next topic. This is something I know very little about, but I don't watch this particular show. But Rick and Morty's new voice actors revealed after the first episode of the new season. Someone take this one away, please.
Sure, this is with you, mate.
Right. So Justin Roiland obviously was fired after all the controversy came out.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. So just to quickly go over the controversy, there was some sexual assault allegations. There was also allegations that Justin Roiland had been engaging in similar behavior to John Kay of Ren and Stimpy, where he was supposedly grooming minors online.
Yeah.
Again, those were just allegations. Nothing was ever proven. So I just want to put that out there.
Not Ren and Stimpy. I love that show.
Protect yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately, the creator's a turd.
But John Kay is not a very
not a nice person.
But so season 7 premiered on Sunday, and the new voice actors were brought in. So Justin Roiland, who had voiced both Rick and Morty, he's now out. He's credited as co-creator, and I believe he's credited as an executive producer of the show, but he has no actual and physical involvement with it anymore. They brought in 2 separate voice actors to voice Rick and Morty. So a guy called Harry Belden is the new voice of Morty, and Ian Cardoni is voicing Rick. And to their credit, they both did a reasonably good job. They actually sound a lot like the characters. And I think it was a very, very good choice to go with that and not change the voice of those 2 characters, because Dan Harmon gave an interview where he said something along the lines of, if the voice of Homer Simpson was to change after that show had been on for so many years, it would take people right out of it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Solar Opposites. Solar Opposites, they completely changed the voice of the character that Justin Roiland was voicing. He voiced the character Corvo. So the first season back without Justin Roiland, they had Corvo get stabbed in the throat. Terry, who's the other adult alien in the show, he fires a ray gun to heal him. He's got it in the wrong setting, so Corvo winds up with an English accent.
That's such a great idea.
And Terry decides to leave it like that because he thinks it sounds so much better.
Yeah. It's so good.
That was brilliantly done, but they kept the voices sounding very, very similar to Rick and Morty. The first episode was not bad. It wasn't one of the best ones they've done, but I've got to give credit to the voice acting. The voice performances were really good. They've done well getting voice actors who sound like the characters, and I'll be curious to see what they do for the rest of the season.
No, for the fans of the show, I think, as long as they get what they want, then it's all good. I love the first 2 series of Rick and Morty. The third one, I only really liked the Pickle Rick episode. And by season 4, I just couldn't anymore. I just dipped out. Got too repetitive for me, and I was just like, I'm done.
I'm curious to see where the story goes with Rick Prime and with Evil Morty.
Okay. I can't remember much of those. Were they in they were in the earlier seasons, yeah.
No. Evil Morty was in one of the earlier seasons.
Right, okay.
But they went and they've had full character arcs with those 2 characters. So Evil Morty, for example, completely left the entire universe and he destroyed portal travel.
Right.
To finish one of the seasons. He completely destroyed portal travel, which Rick wound up Rick eventually wound up restoring it, but Evil Morty had completely destroyed portal travel, and he destroyed the Citadel of the Ricks. So there was that. There was also Rick Prime, which is fleshing out the Rick that we've been watching throughout the show. It fleshes out his backstory.
Right.
So the Rick that we've been watching, his family was actually killed by Rick Prime. So Rick C-137, which is the one that's in this show, he is from a completely different dimension from Morty and Beth and Jerry. So because his Beth was killed as a child.
Jesus Christ.
So Rick C-137 has been out to kill Rick Prime. And
so it's about seeing his arc and where he goes.
Yeah, so this has been building up his arc through the past few seasons, and particularly last season. So apparently both Evil Morty and Rick Prime are going to be back in this season. I'll be curious to see where it goes, but it's worth checking out, I would say.
I'll dip back in on it on season 7, just especially with the series 7 with the voice changes. I'll have a look. Especially with that prick gone now. So
I'll find you the episodes in particular that you might need for things like Evil Morty, taking over and destroying the Citadel of the Ricks, and also
just
Rick
post
Prime
me
as well.
the episode list in the group chat in Facebook, and I'll check those out. Okay, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley tops PWI 250 list of best female wrestlers. So she's in the 250 best female wrestlers of all time.
No, just for 2023.
2023.
Okay.
Well deserved, I'd say.
The top 10
list.
list.
No brainer, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's a no brainer.
Well, yeah, I mean, Rhea Ripley absolutely deserved the number 1 spot. The top 10 list is
that's what I'm curious to hear.
It's strange. Number 2 is I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but it's Giulia. She wrestles in Stardom in Japan. So she's number 2. Number 3 is Bianca Belair.
Yep.
Number 4, Jamie Hayter.
Yep.
Number 5, Tam Nakano. Again, it's another wrestler from Stardom.
Okay, fair enough.
Number 6, Athena. Number 7,
Baboon.
Yeah,
I know her in Baboon. I know it's in Baboon, but
number
she
7.
Much?
Yeah, well, she's done a fair bit holding the Ring of Honor Women's title.
Wrestler, so fine.
Number 7 is Deonna Purrazzo.
Yeah, she's been killing it in Impact.
Number 8, Willow Nightingale.
Okay.
Number 9, Camille. And number 10, Jordan. Yeah, Camille Brickhouse from NWA.
Brick Shithouse woman.
Female Goldberg.
Yeah.
That is very mean.
So
number 10 was Jordan Grace.
Oh yeah, fair enough. That's not a bad top 10 list. I don't know about
I'm surprised at some of the women that didn't make the top 10 list. I mean, Becky Lynch didn't make the top 10. Asuka didn't make the top 10.
Well, Becky Lynch has had a pretty poor 2023, in my opinion.
Tony Storm didn't make the top 10.
Yeah,
Tony Storm. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes 2024 top list. But she actually, no, what am I talking about? Yeah, why the fuck isn't she in the top 10? She like her character work has been incredible in AEW.
Well, not even going with like the current gimmick of Timeless Tony Storm, but I mean, look at the work she's done in the last year. I mean, I would say she was definitely in the top 10. Ruby Soho probably was a contender for the top 10.
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton from NXT was probably a contender for the top 10. Roxanne Perez was probably a contender for the top 10. I certainly would have not put Camille up there.
I don't even know who the fuck Camille is.
She was the women's champion. I think she was like the champion for somewhat like 700 and something days.
Yeah, but her matches were fucking terrible.
Is that in the NWA one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we just talked about her. For fuck's sake.
She used to be Nick Aldis's valet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't have put Camille up there in the top 10. Again,
No,
a number of
I
these,
wouldn't put anything in
things I do
NWA in the
agree
top
with.
10.
I mean, again, Camille definitely would not be in the top 10. I don't know enough about Tam Nakano or Julia
I don't either.
to place either of them. But again, there's other women who surprised me did not make the top 10. Again, Toni Storm definitely should have been in the top 10.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But hey ho.
Yeah.
But yeah, fair play though. Rhea Ripley getting number 1. That's well deserved. I mean, she has been the number 1 draw as far as women's wrestling's been concerned for well over a year now.
Oh, mate, she's been killing it. She is absolutely a top draw. Like, you want to see her matches, and like, it's just her matches are fucking good as well. Her ferocity, just excellent.
I just realized who else could have been in the top 10? Trish Stratus.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Trish Stratus. Great comeback. Great return.
It's a hell of a year she's had since she came back.
Yeah. She's been great. But
so I'll be curious at some point to see the entire list, see where some of those women rank. But you know, again, probably the only one I would say definitely does not deserve to be in the top 10 would be Camille.
Yeah.
But, for the rest of them, you know, I can see it. You know, Deonna Purrazzo has been absolutely killing it in Impact. It's unfortunate that she'd be so lost in the shuffle in both WWE and AEW that Impact is the best place for her still.
For her and Jordan Grace, it's the best place for her.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. They're an MLW if they ever go. But yeah, I mean, Impact's been fucking killing it. Like, it's such a shame. Like, not a lot of people watch it. It's had a great 2023. But there you go. You know.
Okay, Toni Storm's number 12. Sorry.
Number 12?
Yes.
Who's number 11?
Asuka.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Number 13 is Masha Slamovich. I know who she is. Jade Cargill. Yeah. Jade Cargill is 14. Roxana Perez is number 15. Kairi, I said that's Kairi Sane, is 16. Myru Yamashita is 17. I think she's Stardom as well. 18 is Chris Statlander. Number 19 is Mizuki. Number 20 is Saya Kamantina. 21 is Charlotte Flair. And Ronda Rousey's 20.
Fucking hell. Charlotte Flair down in 21.
But hang on, did you say Ronda Rousey 22?
Yes.
She does not deserve to be anywhere near that fucking top 50 list. Her return has been absolute garbage.
And Charlotte Flair has not done a hell of a lot in the past year either.
No, Becky Lynch is 29.
29?
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Do you know what? I'll post the full list for you. 1 second. I'll post that.
Yeah. I'll be interested to read the full thing.
Yeah.
There you go. For your perusal.
Is it in a private? Yeah. It's in a
private. I'll read that later on.
I'll put it on the screen share. 1 second.
But Rhea Ripley was a deserved number 1, and you know, again, fair credit to PWI. They actually got the list right this year.
Yeah.
Yes. Congrats to people that I know who are on it.
It's certainly a hell of a lot better than their men's list where they put John Moxley at number 1.
Let me share. What is this? Dodginess. Oh, I think it just did it there. Hang on. Sorry.
I mean, again, their men's list, they put John Moxley at number 1 when realistically, number 1 should have been Roman Reigns.
Fucking Moxley at number 1. Twat.
It should have been Moxley. It should have been Roman Reigns at number 1, and I think MJF at number 2.
That's ridiculous. Right, let's go to number 30 onwards. So,
Mickie James got 27.
Oh, sorry.
Nicole Matthews got 32.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's 36.
Taya Valkyrie 26. All she's done is fucking job to everyone.
Liv Morgan 38. What the fuck?
Yeah, she should be number 1. My wife.
Again,
as much as I love Liv Morgan, she's not the best wrestler. Let's be honest. Let's say it right. Tommy.
Hang on. 64, 66, 68, 70, and 74 are blank.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
What the hell's going on there?
What the fuck is that? That's great. Let's go. Cora Jade should be higher than 65. She's had a good year till she got.
I've just tried looking for Trish Stratus and I'm not even seeing her in the list.
Oh no, that's Trish Adora. Let's see. Let's try Trish. Just one Trish.
Yep.
Trish Adora.
Trish Stratus isn't even on the list unless she's one of those blank numbers.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sky Blue 89. Hang on, where's what's her name? The blonde one in the House of Black. Julia Hart. She's had a good year.
She's 105.
She's 105.
Yeah, Gigi Dolan's 104.
What? JC Jane
107.
Wow, Zelina Vega 103.
Yeah, I mean she just fucking jumped everyone. Yeah.
I want to say stuff, but I can't because I know some of these people are super talented, and I can't because I'll be like.
I mean, again, some of these names are all over the goddamn place.
Yeah, Mariah May 95 now. She should be higher. She's going to AEW now. She's really fucking talented.
Taylor Wells 99. Emerson
lady.
Jade, who I know, she's down there.
Again, some of these names are all over the goddamn place, but again, they've got the number one spot correct at least.
Yeah.
So
there's
absolutely no quibbling about the number one spot.
No. Riho is there. Let Davenport, Madison Rain. Anyway, fucking 250. There's just so many blanks. Like, what's your fucking? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see who the blanks are.
Yeah,
I imagine that maybe 64 would probably be Trish Stratus if they were ranking her. Even though, again, she's definitely a contender for the top 10 after the past year she's had.
Yeah, she's had a fucking great year. Bloody ridiculous. Well, that's the PWI Insider 250 list. At least Rhea Ripley's number one. That's all that really matters.
Okay, so absolutely. We can talk about other stuff as well, but the last one on this particular docket is Spider Bloke 2. Now, I have Spider Bloke 2.
Oh, Zam, take it away.
Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play it. It installed on my computer a couple of days ago, but I couldn't play it until yesterday. Thursday going into Friday midnight. So 12 hours ago, 24 hours ago.
Are you going to do a live stream on it, playing it?
I will initially, but what it is, like when it comes to like the first day of live streaming a new game, you have all these growing pains of learning, and then you have the issue of having to learn on a live stream. Sometimes it's better to live stream once you've got everything just and you understand how to play the game properly without learning new things. And ideally, that's when I really want to live stream. But I'll live stream the first time I'm playing it, I guess. I'll play it tomorrow. I've got a couple of jobs to do tomorrow, but once I've done them, I'm coming straight home.
All right.
And I'm going to play it for maybe 3 hours before my body can't handle it anymore. You know what I mean? Then back in the day, I'll be playing that shit for like 12 hours solid. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I can only cram in a couple of hours before I've had enough.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's how it is.
Well, it's good. It's good in a way. It's actually good because it means the game lasts longer. Like Assassin's Creed Mirage, it was like a 25-hour, 30-hour game, and it lasted me a decent amount of time, and I'm happy about that. But I wasn't binging it like 8-hour sessions. I was playing 2-3 hours, had my fill, and then I moved on. So Yeah, I'm looking forward to Spider-Man. I can't wait to play it. Hopefully it's good. The story more than anything, because the story for the first Spider-Man game was absolutely fantastic.
I'll tell you, from the bits I've seen of this one, I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry, anyone in the chat or anything like that. It looks really good. Looks good. Looks like really that's good. Enough. It's like I've got no interest in the game and the gameplay, because the gameplay mechanics are just, they're a bit boring for me, because there are a lot of quick time events and cutscenes and all this kind of stuff. But it's a bit like Mafia 3, where I'll just happily play through the game just to see the story play out. So yeah, it looks good.
I binged I watched the 4-hour story of Mortal Kombat 1, which was highly enjoyable. I've always been a big fan of the Mortal Kombat story games. I've been watching them for since forever, and I think games like those, like the Injustice stories and all of that, they're super enjoyable to watch. So even
you should do the Mafia 3 one. You do the Mafia 3 one.
Yeah, but I know the gameplay is really shit.
No. Just watch the story online.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, yeah, I know, but it's about a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I rewatched it a couple of weeks ago. It was amazing. Gaz, anything you want to say on Spider-Man 2? I know you wanted me to put it on the docket.
Yes, so I won't buy this because the first one was amazing, and I thought it brought back Spider-Man in a big way. It kind of reminded me of Spider-Man 2, the film, the game, which is probably one of the best film games out there. I thought Miles Morales was a little bit more of the same, but I did like it because I like that character. This one, I am interested in it to see how they're going to bring in the Venom aspects and how they're going to use that. But again, I don't know if it's going to get a bit repetitive the third time around.
Probably. That's why I'm.
It probably will. I saw some reviews of it, and unfortunately, from what the reviews are saying, that they haven't reinvented the wheel too much. I mean, there are some additional elements to the game, but it does feel very similar to the first game. But this is the problem when you're making sequels. You need to make it familiar, but also make it new, and the balance is very difficult. It really is difficult. But regardless, we'll see. I'm still looking forward to playing it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All the main mission is about 20 hours long. You throw in the sides, you probably got about a 40-hour game. You know what I mean? So I can't wait. Probably be some DLC for this eventually as well.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to bring up, if you've not seen it, watch Angry Joe's review of Starfield. It is a piece of art.
Yeah, I
literally hilariously funny. Like he just rips apart Bethesda for being.
Look, that game is typical Bethesda. They have we talk about other developers being formulaic. They are formulaic, and their owner Matt Howard is a fucking cunt.
Todd.
Yeah, I mean Todd Howard. Sorry, is a fucking cunt. Bullshit artist extraordinaire. Life for his teeth, and unfortunately with Starfield, all it is Fallout 4 or Fallout whatever in space.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't know what else. This is what worries me about the Indiana Jones game. Oh my god, these guys are making the Indiana Jones game. If it ever comes out,
are they making it or is it a company under them? Because if it's a company under them, hopefully it'll be all right. Because like a company that Bethesda owns made like Doom, and Doom was really good.
It was really good.
So if it's a company under them, then we should be all right. But if Bethesda are making it, oh my god, it'll be hilarious with the glitches. That's for sure. But no thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, there's no news on that game. I mean, I think it's been 2-3 years now since they talked about an Indiana Jones game by Bethesda, and not a fucking sausage.
It's just
nothing.
I mean, nothing about the fucking Indiana Jones games. And now I'm hoping with Spider-Man 2 has come out, I'm bloody hoping that whatever news comes from Insomniac's mouth next is to do with the fucking Wolverine game, because it's been about 4 or 5 years since they announced that. and we've had nothing yet. And so they need to move on. I think from Spider-Man, they need to move on. I say that's easy. That's easier said than done. If the sales are really good, then I'll shut my mouth. And obviously, they're going to make Spider-Man 3, which they're going to do regardless. But I want to see Wolverine, and then I want to see fucking X-Men as well. I want Insomniac to own the Marvel universe, and I'll be happy with that. I'm currently playing this bad boy. This just came for me today.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Oh, yeah, that's the one right for me, Ali.
Yeah. Can I just say something? Right. Somebody make a good Superman game. Right. That's just all I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, Super Mario Wonder's fine.
Why you didn't like Superman 64?
No.
Greatest Superman game ever made.
I remember when they made Superman Returns the game, and that was pretty shit.
There was this arcade Superman game, which was actually 2 players, so you could play as an orange Superman. I'm not sure if you remember the side scroller. It was pretty good.
No,
look, this is the information I can find. I can't remember. It was on an arcade machine, but it's the only information I could find on Indiana Jones, the video game, which the latest information came out a month ago. So, new Indiana Jones game, everything we know about the new Machine Games Adventure. So, yeah, it is a company under Bethesda. The as yet untitled Indiana Jones game will see Bethesda knocking heads with Wolfenstein devs Machine Games. It's been over 2 years since the new Indiana Jones game from Bethesda's Softworks was announced, and there are still precious few details out there in the public. That's a shame because it's one of the most anticipated upcoming Bethesda games, and for a good reason. The Indiana Jones game for Xbox X Series is in development at Machine Games, the studio responsible for Wolfenstein, the New Order, Wolfenstein 2, blah, blah, blah. We also know that Bethesda's game studio head Todd Howard has a hand in production. Oh, no. Following his work on Starfield and around his involvement in Elder Scrolls 6. Interestingly, while Bethesda is on record saying that its Indiana Jones game is in very, very, very early stages. Sorry?
It better not be a fucking first-person game. That's all I'm saying. If it's first-person...
Very, very, very early stage of development. A recent Microsoft leak where international documents from 2019, which weren't properly redacted, released accidentally as part of the ongoing battle to get the Xbox Activision deal over the line, noted that Bethesda once hoped to get Indiana Jones out by the end of the financial year 2022. Well, that's not fucking happening, is it? Obviously, sorry, this is another article now. So there's nothing really there. No, sorry. All right. Obviously, we are past the financial year 2022 now, so here's hoping that we get a substantial update on its production soon. In the meantime, keep reading to find out. Oh, for fuck's sake! One other thing I found out on just doing the search is apparently they will reveal. It sounds like Bethesda Indiana Jones game will be revealed in 2024. Bethesda. So there's another article here. Bethesda has similarly teased plans to reveal its Indiana Jones game in 2024. Announced in January 2021, the title is development at Machine Games, the Swedish studio behind the modern Wolfenstein games. But Bethesda game director Howard, who is serving as executive producer on the Indiana Jones game, briefly commented on the project at the end of the Esquire interview published to coincide with today's Starfield release. I'm a giant Indiana Jones fan, he said. It can be brought to video games in a unique way. The game is obviously you're exploring stuff. It's about him, so you're playing the game. How do you feel that you are indeed playing versus just watching him? What the hell? Anyway, according to the report, Howard wasn't allowed to reveal more about the game, but as the interview reviewer left his office, he added, "We'll talk next year." Howard, whose favorite film is Raiders of the Lost Ark, one of my favorites as well, said of the game's genre last year, "I would just say it's a mashup. It's a unique. It isn't one thing intentionally, so it does a lot of different things." Well, I hope that means it's going to be good. A GQ report published last month claimed that Howard was midway through executive producing the game. They've got the whole Nazi killing scene down, and they're doing a really good job. He said the Machine Games will work on the title. VGC.
I mean, we already have the Uncharted series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. No, we have Uncharted, we have all of that, and there's a couple of good Indiana Jones games out there, but at the same time, I want Indiana Jones. I want some of the things that are exclusively Indiana Jones, like his fucking whip. That's always going to play a part, which Uncharted doesn't have that particular element. And as much as I love the Uncharted games, I really do, I feel like I want to see the granddaddy be given justice in the video game world. I feel he's entitled to that. The guy who obviously inspired all these other games to be where they are today. So yeah. Hello, Mr. System. Welcome to the stream. But yeah, if we see something next year, I'll be happy. I mean, if the games that are being developed in 2021 and it ends up being 2024, I mean, eventually they have to have something out. But after 3 years, they have to have something. So
I wouldn't put much hope into it. Let's just see the first trailer or the second, actual proper trailer, and then until then, fuck knows with Bethesda, mate. You could be waiting 8 years.
It'll just be another generic things like this.
If they do Fallout 4, like if they make Indiana Jones like a Fallout game or a Starfield game, I'll be very pissed off. I'll be very, very pissed off. I mean, that's not how.
It needs to be an action adventure game. That's it. With stealth.
It needs to be. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. Like, this is not open world or shit like that. It needs to be quite linear. I mean, we need that MacGuffin and all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah.
It needs to be like a, basically Tomb Raider.
Like Uncharted.
And Uncharted. Yeah. But without 50 million cutscenes in between every fucking thing you do, like in the Uncharted games.
Yeah.
Like I said, Emperor's Tomb is the greatest Indiana Jones game out there.
Yeah.
If I would love to see Emperor's Tomb get a remake for today's consoles. That would be fantastic. It'd be so much fun to play again. Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if Disney buys EA and then because those are always rumors that are swirling around, and then they kind of revive Lucas Studios, which not gonna happen. You never know. Or if they buy, mind you, they own Lucas Games, so I don't know. Do they own Lucas Games? Does anyone own Lucas Games? Is it even a fucking thing? I'm sure they own the IP.
Well, yeah. I mean, when they bought Lucasfilms, they got not just Star Wars, they got Indiana Jones, and they got
they own the IP
like that,
But
so something like the game, like Bethesda's making the game, but surely Disney must have a hand in that as well. Surely.
God knows, mate. God knows. They just license shit out and they don't really care. I mean, look how stupid they were with Star Wars. They gave it to EA first without, they gave them exclusivity.
Yeah, but we know that, but we know that they gave it.
Now they don't have exclusivity anymore.
We know that they gave it to EA, so we know that Disney still have a part in that in whatever capacity. Are they involved in this game with Bethesda in any capacity? We don't know that. I mean,
probably not. I mean, they the only reason I speculate that is because of what they've said in the past, and that they just don't give a shit about games. So they just license their stuff out, and they didn't give a shit. The only time they gave a shit is when Star Wars Battlefront 2 embarrassed the shit out of everyone. And that's when Disney stepped in and just like gave EA absolute hell and were just like, okay, you know what? Fuck this. When the contract came up, they didn't give EA exclusivity. They just gave the license to anyone and everyone. That's why Ubisoft have a Star Wars game coming out. That's why other companies have Star Wars game. And that's how it should be. You should never have exclusivity because you end up with fucking shit like the Madden games and the FIFA games and all this kind of shit where like there's no competition. And so you just take the absolute piss with it. Whereas if you license your games out to everyone, it's good, healthy competition to see who does the best product. And so every company has to fight to make sure that their product isn't a pile of shit. And, you know, I mean, if you look at Fallen Order, or Jedi, whatever it was called, this one, it was a disaster. It was a fucking broken mess. It just didn't fucking work. And so it's just fallen off the radar. Nobody's talking about it. But they've greenlit a third one, which is a fucking joke. And, you know, as much as I loved Fallen Order, the gameplay got boring and the combat was abysmal, absolutely fucking abysmal. So I had no interest in the second one because they kept everything the same. And a third one, fucking, unless you're jumping in a spaceship and flying around, I just don't give a fuck.
Is it the blood born? That's what's good.
Yeah, it's the combat is like Bloodborne.
The front spot.
So they call it Soulsborne, like
the
Frogspawn.
Yeah. Fucking hate that I hate that combat. I've got a lightsaber. I should be cutting through you like you're a piece of shit, not fucking sitting there being defended against. Fucking idiots. So bollocks to those games. That's it, really. Anyone else got anything they want to talk about?
Well,
anything else?
Relation to gaming, has anybody been following the quote-unquote leaks with regard to GTA 6?
Yes.
Kind of, yeah. What was going on?
Yeah.
Nothing of late, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. That's the thing, right? There's a lot of them which are just utter bullshit, and you can tell immediately, you know, it's just clickbait horseshit.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm finding funny, though, is the meltdown that some people are having over the fact that supposedly there's going to be a female protagonist in GTA 6.
Yeah, it's a man and a woman.
Man and a woman. Supposedly, it's also going to be a Latina woman called Lucia.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how much of this is even remotely true.
It's true. We've seen the proper leaks. The proper leaks that came out.
Well, we've seen
that.
Well, we've seen leaks, but again, we don't know how many of them are actually legitimate.
No, they're legitimate because Rockstar went after the person and they sued the shit out of them.
Well, the concept
or something.
The concept supposedly is that Lucia is the bright one of the group. Her main ability is hacking and technology, according to a reputable insider. What I found funny is the backlash this got from a number of the racist incels on the YouTube community in particular. People like the Quartering. I mean, the Quartering put out a response to that saying, the woman character is smarter than all those dumb guys. Wow, first time I've seen that. I'm guessing the dumb motherfucker...
Quartering.
I'm guessing the dumb motherfucker never played GTA 5. Because if you recall, in GTA 5, when you're putting a crew together for jobs, who's the most intelligent hacker you hire? Oh, right, it's a woman. Paige Harris.
Yeah.
You know, she's the one that you hire to actually do a decent job.
Just fucking rage bait bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah, so that I'm finding quite amusing. But again, I'll wait until I see an official trailer before, you know, I give a shit whether or not GTA 6 ever comes out.
I tell you what,
at this point, I'm thinking it's going to be vaporware, or, you know, to the point where it's going to be like Duke Nukem Forever, or potentially even a case of, you know, GTA 5 will become the next Skyrim, where it gets released on every console, every next generation of console.
It'll be that one. It'll be the Skyrim, because they've done it with GTA 5. They've just re-released it on every console. I personally, I don't care, because like I fucking hate Rockstar games. I hate them with a passion. I hate Take-Two, who own them, because of their greedy monetization, and like every fucking thing you do in those games. The same with Red Dead 2. Everything you do, it just involves around you having to fucking grind for money, and it's shit. It's no fun. The only good thing I like about the Rockstar's game mechanics is the collision. Like if you fall and you're smacking on things, or you punch somebody and all that, that's great. But the rest of their stuff and how their games are set up, it's just like, I don't care. Like, people are going to flock to it because it's GTA. They're going to love it. They're going to spunk away all their money on shark cards and battle passes and God. The thing is that people always talk about, what's the game going to be like? And I'm like, stop thinking about the fucking game. You know, it's rare that Rockstar will piss off a lot of fans in terms of the gameplay. It's how are they going to monetize it? That's what you need to fucking be asking with any Rockstar game. How are you going to monetize it? I mean, we saw the disaster because of their obsession with monetization. This is why Red Dead 2 Online was a complete disaster. It was a fucking total failure. Even Rockstar were complaining, well, nobody's spending any money. Well, nobody's spending any money because you can't fucking do anything on there. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to go and skin foxes and go sell their fucking furs or sell meat to a fucking butcher. Yeah, that's what I want. Instead of robbing trains and banks or you know, defending fucking towns and forts or whatever, you know, or shit. Shit.
Yeah,
it's the most
robbing a stage wagon and stuff like that. Yeah, it's like a wagon and holding people up and stuff like that. Shootouts. Yeah, that's what you want from the game. But no, I need to feed my horse.
Yeah,
you know, and
I need to clean my gun.
The stamina thing is really annoying, but they brought it in Mirage as well. Like my horse had stamina, so like I need to ride to this particular location, and so I'm riding to the location. All of a sudden, my horse wants to stop running, and I realized that it ran out of bloody stamina. Like why? There's not one part of the game has a moment where you're like riding on your horse, racing against people trying to catch you or stuff. I think maybe on one occasion. But even then, it wasn't too bad.
That in Mirage?
In Mirage. And even then, it was nothing. It was nothing at all.
Yeah.
Like one escort mission, I mean, that was it. Like the stamina system is really annoying. It really is fucking annoying.
I hate having real life elements in my fucking game. Just don't like it. Yeah, cleaning your gun. Make sure you eat. You're cold. Put this on. You're cold. Hot. Put that on.
You eat, but you never take a shit. And how much food am I going to store in my body before I need to fucking release it? If you're going to go for realism, for fuck's sake, I mean,
your GTA 6 will have you. GTA 6 will have you fucking paying your mortgage and bills and going.
Yeah, you're telling me that. I wouldn't be surprised.
Supposedly, the petrol mechanic was going to be in GTA 5, where you have to stop and actually fill up your car.
Trust me, I will not be surprised if they put that in 6. Pisses off the fans, and then they might take it away. Because go on, guys.
I was going to say, but also after we finish this, I have a contender for worst game of the year. Don't count this yet. This week.
Oh, what? King Kong.
Oh yeah, that. Oh, you've heard about this? Yeah, King Kong Skull Island, or what it's called. My God, does it look terrible?
If you thought Gollum was bad, then this one it makes Gollum look.
I thought I saw the bad guy from fucking Star Fox 64. I thought, look, there he is. They put a fucking body on him. You know what I mean? It used to be that floating head.
Yeah,
the battle, and then they gave him a body. You know what I mean? Okay, there you go, King Kong.
Yeah. And why the fuck haven't Nintendo made another Star Fox game, man? It's just 50,000 Mario games.
Star Fox. It's because the last one flopped.
Because the last one was on the Wii U, wasn't it?
It was that Star. Was it the Star Fox?
No, Star Fox 64 was called Star Fox, but it was on the N64, and that was amazing.
There's another one after that. There's a couple more. There's another one where it was like instead of being a street battle.
Yeah, but they made a different game. They didn't try to make it like Star Fox 64, and it was so different that it didn't feel like the game that people liked. Star Fox 64 had some great moments. You had like a part of the game which was like Independence Day and all that shit, and there's one where you have to shoot this gigantic rocket that is going towards the spaceship, and you have to dismantle it before it gets to the spaceship. It was like some really clever moments. I loved it. It was great.
It was
one of my yeah. Do a barrel roll.
Yeah, do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, they've made a couple, but Guess not many people are buying it. They've made quite a few Star Fox games. I just had a look. I didn't realize.
Yeah, but they haven't made anything close to 64. Yeah, I mean, 64 was like the best, and everything else was just why bother? If you're not going to make a game that is a sequel to 64, then there's no point because that's what people want.
You know closest you got to actually a follow up to Star Fox was if you got the Switch version of Starlink Battle for Atlas.
I don't know about that.
Well, because you had the option to actually play as Fox McCloud in an R-Wing.
Okay. Starlink was that Ubisoft game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So, yeah, unfortunately for me, when it comes to video games, finish Mirage, I'll give that game probably a 7 out of 10. There's no double assassination in it. I mean, that's just a standard thing. So often there'll be two fucking guards standing next to each other.
Hello.
That's the ship. That's the ship.
Yeah, that's the ship.
Got it. They would like the game was such a flop that you could literally buy the whole game with a ship for £5. I bought all the ships for my nephews, and I kept the Star Fox one for myself. Yeah, and it has like £5. You get the whole game. You get a ship. This was the Switch exclusive one. I've never played the game. I've thrown the game away. And it's got a whole mechanism you attach to your controller. And look, I mean, you can even fucking change your characters. Look, there's the
Fox McCloud. Yeah, well, I know. I mean, I've spotted. I've got the game. I've got the R-Wing.
You've got it.
Yeah, I've also spotted in places like One Below. The chain that used to be Pound World. They've actually got like the accessories for that game for 79p a piece. So
it's only 79p for the accessories.
For the accessories for the game, yeah.
Oh yeah, you mean the fucking little guns and all that? Yeah. They were £1 when I got them. Yeah. It's great. It's fucking great value for money. You get spaceships for like peanuts, and they're really well made. Like no joke, they're fucking solid. So, but the game was absolute shite. Absolute
it wasn't
shite.
Well, it wasn't great, but I mean, it was probably the closest you were ever going to get to a decent follow-up, Star Fox follow-up.
Yeah, because it was basically a game mechanics that was about 20 years outdated. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
All right then, fellas. Well, I think we've kind of covered everything we can.
Well, we got Alex Jones getting fucked over again by a judge.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Bring that up.
Yeah, so Alex Jones, who he owes over $1.1 billion to the families of the Sandy Hook victims, who he smeared by saying that they were crisis actors, etc. And it was completely staged. It's been ruled by U.S. District Judge Christopher Lopez of Houston, Texas, that Alex Jones cannot get out of paying that money by filing bankruptcy. So Jones, last year, he attempted to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy in order to protect his assets. And he was claiming that he has about $14 million in assets, which is actually fairly low when you consider what he was worth just a few years ago. He was worth over $100 million at one point.
Yeah, but has he hid those assets away though?
That's one of the suspicions. It was brought up as well during the trial. Over a 3-year period, he had $18 million per year in assets, which he claims it was attempting to. Well, he claims it was a case of he was paying back money that he owed in a loan to another company. The thing is, though, it was a company that Alex Jones owns.
I remember that, yeah.
So, he's likely got a lot of assets hidden. But this ruling, though, it means he is completely fucked. Now, I'm surprised that, he even dared file for bankruptcy, given that it's reported that in July alone, he spent $93,000 in expenses, which was on meals and entertainment. So this was according to his monthly financial reports in the bankruptcy case.
Yeah, I mean,
now,
people like that don't surprise me.
The Sandy Hook families still haven't received a penny.
Nope. I'd be surprised if they ever do.
I'm waiting for him to, because now he owes that. Well, for me, now he owes that money. I'm waiting for him to shell that money out because that's what he's supposed to do, and he hasn't done that yet. And so I'm a bit pissed off. I mean, eventually I want him to start maybe facing some repercussions for not spending that money, but by maybe possibly going to jail. That would be nice if that's the case.
Well, I think what will happen is, first of all, I expect probably a fair amount of his assets are going to have to be sold off. It'll be a case of a bankruptcy hearing will come in, and they will demand that they will get a court order demanding that he has to part ways with a number of his assets.
Yeah, but
that includes.
I want to see these things actually happening, though.
That potentially includes Infowars. Infowars could be sold off as an asset.
But I just want to see these things actually happen because, like, he was found guilty. He had to pay these people all of these things. Instead, what he's doing, he's fucking Blair White. You know what I mean? Like, when's he going to start facing the genuine repercussions and not be a showman? Because that's what he's doing. He's basically like fucking Trump, on the airwaves. He's just he seems to be found guilty for various things, and yet nothing's been done. The guy's still a fucking showman, and it's pissing me off. I want something to be done.
It's been tied up in legal process, Sam. That's why nothing has been done at the minute. But now there is an official ruling saying that, no, you can't get out of paying this money that you owe. So I think we're probably going to see a fire sale of InfoWars assets, and potentially even the InfoWars IP. Now, the InfoWars IP was actually valued pretty heavily when it came to the civil trial. Mark Bankston had an interesting proposal, which was that he was actually interested in potentially. He said he would actually be interested in potentially buying the InfoWars license, buying the InfoWars IP. And his suggestion, Mark Bankston, he was the lawyer who represented the Sandy Hook families. Now, he was questioned about it on Knowledge Fight, which is a podcast that has gone in depth on Alex Jones and his behavior. And one of their co-hosts actually wound up testifying against Jones. And I'll be interested to hear the next episode of Knowledge Fight probably discussing this ruling against him. But when they interviewed Bankston, Bankston had an interesting suggestion, which was that the InfoWars IP, if they were to take the domain of InfoWars and turn it into a legitimate news site, that might be a force for good in the world.
That would be a great turnaround. Can you fucking imagine?
Yeah. I mean, the guys from Knowledge Fight, one of them has said they want to buy his desk. They want to buy Alex Jones' desk in the fire sale. So, yeah, even though it won't fit in their house, they still want to buy the desk.
Because something like, don't get me wrong, I don't watch InfoWars, but something like InfoWars will have like a membership scheme where people have already invested money and all of that sort of stuff.
That's the only way they get their revenue mainly.
Well, they've got several ways of raising revenue. So they've done crowdfunders. They have, but their main source of income is pharmaceuticals. So,
you've
seen it. I don't know. You've probably seen the memes at some point.
I've seen
Watson shilling Brainforce Plus and things like that.
Yeah,
that's InfoWars. That's the kind of thing
he obviously doesn't use it.
Well, I'll get into Brainforce in a moment, but a lot of the scare stories that InfoWars has usually put out generally winds up being followed with an infomercial for a product you can buy. So when Alex Jones talks about potential for World War III and nuclear bombs going off, he then starts selling you things like tincture of iodine, or he starts trying to sell you things like, doomsday prepper buckets or systems for water filtration. I mean, that was the thing. Right, when Alex Jones infamously banged on about, I don't like that they're putting chemicals in the water to turn the frickin' frogs gay. When he was banging on about that, he immediately transitioned into selling water filtration systems.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's his biggest grift. He's just a snake oil fucking salesman.
He absolutely is a snake oil salesman. I mean, Brain Force is a product that it contains very, very little compared to what you can actually buy far cheaper on the market. Paul Joseph Watson, for all his rallying against soy, he had to he got challenged on the fact by H Bomber Guy that Brain Force Plus also contains huge amounts of soy.
Well, it's fitting for a soy boy. So, if you want to take...
Absolutely. But what's probably going to happen, as I said, is there's probably going to be a fire sale of InfoWars in terms of their physical assets. And I think what's probably also going to happen is Alex Jones is going to see his salary, no matter what he does, garnished for the rest of his life.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
He could set up a new conspiracy network. He could set up a new conspiracy network tomorrow.
Yeah,
and again, let's say he sells off InfoWars and he decides he's going to set up this new conspiracy network. I don't know. Let's call it Brain Fight. Let's call it Brain Fight or whatever.
Yeah.
He sets up Brain Fight and makes an income off that. That's going to be garnished off of him, for the rest of his natural life, because he is never going to pay off $1.1 billion.
Yep.
Which I think is absolutely fitting for what he did.
Yeah, and long may he live after that if that's what they end up doing.
Absolutely.
So that he never gets any fucking relief.
I'm now just looking forward to the next step of it, which is when they start clawing back his assets and his, the funds that he supposedly has sent into offshore accounts.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, just keep us posted on everything, because his downfall is just fucking beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, since they kicked him off YouTube, it's been amazing.
Speaking of that, I'm still annoyed. How the hell do some of these channels like Blair White or Steven Crowder, etc., get away with effectively giving Alex Jones a free platform when he's banned from the website? I really don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it, because
that
Twitch
should have been an automatic strike.
Yeah, because Twitch will not let you do that. Like, if you're banned on Twitch, you can't even game with other Twitch streamers. If they know that you're gaming with a banned member, you'll get banned as well. And that's YouTube doesn't do that, and that's fucking ridiculous. They say this man's face is not allowed on our platform unless it is to critique them. Simple as that. Or just go as far as to say, unless he's in the news for something, you're not even, nothing. You can't even critique his videos, because we don't want him being on the platform at all.
Twitch didn't even allow it for the purposes of critique. I mean, Vosh was banned from the platform for a while, and yet you were not allowed to show any of his videos from YouTube.
That's right.
On Twitch.
Yeah, that's right. That's how it should be on YouTube. It should just be, unless it's away from anything to do with InfoWars, so it's him in court, then you should be allowed to talk about it. But if it's critiquing an InfoWars video, no. Because one thing that pisses me off is the way a lot of people gain notoriety and gain popularity is when they're people who are against them talk a lot about them and put them on their platform. They put them on essentially that just helps drive traffic to that person and interest to that person. And I think if they're giving you a dangerous message like InfoWars, so it's different if it's like a standard right winger talking stuff that isn't like bigoted, racist or whatever. But if it's just something like InfoWars, then they should just never be given a platform at all.
I don't agree entirely with the whole thing, because I think you can do valid criticism of somebody who's off the platform. So, for example, we've spoken previously about Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is banned from YouTube. Now, I've got absolutely no problem bringing up a clip of his and absolutely ripping it to shreds, because we're not trying to send traffic is. We're literally trying to point out, what a massive piece of shit the guy is.
Yeah.
What I'm referring to when it comes to Alex Jones, again, when Blair White, when Steven Crowder, when they have him on, it's not a case of they're there ridiculing him. They're not taking apart his arguments. They're giving him a free platform to host a show effectively on their platform. They're allowing Alex Jones, a guy who is banned from YouTube, to host a show on their platform.
Yeah.
And that should be an instant termination.
Yeah, talking about Andrew Tate, like almost a year ago, he went to jail. I mean, prior to that, he was ridiculously famous. He was on everybody's lips. I do feel that he has fallen by the wayside quite a lot. You hardly hear about him anymore. When it comes to all the red pill content and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he's not allowed on TikTok, which is where he made his. Although you can see a lot of fucking clips still.
He's still.
But I think the Romanian government has banned him from going online, or at least to do.
He does podcasts and Rumble and stuff, and he talked about the.
Oh, I see.
He's obviously when it came to Israel Palestine, he was obviously being pro-Palestine, and him and Ben Shapiro, prior to Israel Palestine was an Andrew Tate fan, then started calling him a rapist and a human trafficker once they started conflicting over Israel Palestine.
Ben Shapiro.
Funny how it took Israel Palestine for Ben Shapiro to start calling him a rapist and a sex trafficker. It was nothing to do with the actual rape and sex trafficking.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you guys already talked about fucking Israel stuff earlier, and just Shapiro is just like completely stands for Israel. He won't fucking.
Same with like David Pakman, which upsets me a lot, but I like David Pakman a lot. I'm a big fan of his. I enjoy his content. I like his dry wit sense of style when it comes to how he delivers his messaging. But when it comes to Israel Palestine, he is a stan of epic proportions. Israel can do no wrong as far as he's concerned,
and it's exactly very upsetting. One of the reasons why I don't watch David Pakman, because this isn't the first time he's done this. He'd done this back in 2014. And I was just like, who the fuck this prick? But
rather than rehash the whole Israel-Palestine thing, when it comes to Andrew Tate and Red Pill, I think is starting to die off in a lot of respects. I think there's been so much pushback against it, for one, and also the fact that a lot of it has been deplatformed.
Yeah,
now, Andrew Tate, for example, he's still doing he's still doing podcasts on places like Rumble, and I know that people still try and upload it to YouTube, because I've actually flagged at least 2 of them because they weren't critiquing it. They were literally just uploading Tate's podcast with the episode in question was with Lawrence Fox.
Yeah.
And YouTube did ultimately remove it. So again, I think the whole red pill thing, it's kind of like Gamergate in the sense that it's had its moment in the sun, but now it's just fading into obscurity. Nobody cares about it anymore.
Yeah, let's see what the next thing is. The next fucking fad to jump on for the incels will be, it's more Matrix, not more Matrix stuff. Fucking, let's see what's the new Matrix gonna be?
Human Centipede.
Human Centipede. Cool. Well, all right then, guys. I think I'm tapped out.
Well, just one quick moment. Did anybody watch or hear about the YouTube boxing event?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I
watched
the matches.
I didn't watch it. I just saw some clips.
All right. So basically, what happened was that Dildo Dallas and Logan Paul had a what was tried to be a boxing match, but basically Logan Paul decided to do some pro wrestling shit in it. Where he basically
No, I disagree. I watched that match. I watched that match.
Where he got himself intentionally disqualified. That's basically what happened.
Dylan Dennis got himself disqualified.
The other guy got himself disqualified. He wasn't throwing a single fucking punch. Yeah, and then when he started realizing he was losing, he tried to do a UFC takedown, like a shoot fight takedown on Logan Paul. And then when he was on the floor, he actually tried to kick Logan Paul while he was on the fucking floor. Yeah, and the amazing thing is that this Dallas guy, he came in looking like the hero, and people were cheering him. But then he went Rocky IV during the course of the match because he was being such a stinker and being a stupid showman and not actually boxing, that the people switched and they started chanting for Logan fucking Paul. It went proper Rocky IV. I couldn't fucking believe it, and rightfully so, because this other guy wasn't boxing at all. He's a cage fighter, not a boxer, but he didn't show any boxing skills whatsoever. And in a way, I hate to say it, Logan Paul came out looking good in that particular match because of the other guy. Whilst unfortunately for KSI against Tommy Fury, he lost that match because KSI is not a proper boxer, and even though Tommy Fury is not the best boxer, he comes with boxing pedigree. He's going to beat somebody like KSI.
Just quickly going back to Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis, they were both fucking unlikable people, both notorious internet scammers. CoffeeZilla, as I said, did a video in response to the fact that both of them were using CoffeeZilla's investigations against the other to say you're a scammer, you scam your audience. Logan Paul was saying, saying to Dylan Dennis, you scammed your audience 20 times. What about that website you linked to, which was something CoffeeZilla had set up, where they listed 20 different scams that Dylan Dennis had pulled on his audience on social media. And Dylan Dennis then highlighted CoffeeZilla's investigation of Logan Paul and CryptoZoo. So CoffeeZilla responded to this, pointing out that they stopped at 20 when it came to Dylan Dennis, so there was actually a hell of a lot more. Meanwhile, when it came to Logan Paul, when it came to Logan Paul, he not only quickly mentioned Dink Doink, but he also had footage of Logan Paul doing a cryptocurrency pump and dump on his podcast and arranging the day before to get free crypto tokens.
Yep.
Because he was going to push this thing to the moon and then sell off the tokens.
Yeah, and at this point in time, if you're still buying into crypto, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, maybe with the Bitcoin, because that's still the more stable one, but Jesus Christ, you cannot be that thick to my brother always sends me stuff like to kind of try and help me and all of that, and everything he sends me, I'm like, this is called a pump and dump. This one is called drop shipping. These are all fucking scams. These are different scams that I'm aware of, because anything that makes you money is there to make you money. It's there to make other people fucking money and you nothing. And drop shipping, you can make money from it, but you've got to drop out quick and make sure you don't have your house addresses attached to it, because it's essentially basically you're like a middleman between the seller and the company, and it's just fucking real shitty thing. And that's like the next big scam that's gonna come to light. Even though it's been around for a few more years, it's now going to come to light a bit more. You hear more about it because of all the counterfeit goods that you can sell on it. But yeah, the fact that people still invest in crypto and some people still think NFTs are a thing,
Yeah. When it came to the Paul versus Dennis fight, though, I called it, from the start, which was that Dylan Dennis was not going to be. He was not going to win for the simple reason that he was not training to box. That was evident when he was doing his public workout. He wasn't actually showcasing any boxing skills. He was mat wrestling and showing jiu-jitsu. So come the time of the fight, Dylan Dennis threw a total of 16 punches compared to Logan Paul throwing 108.
I throw more punches than that, just trying to straighten out my quilt every fucking night.
One of the commentators put it perfectly when security stepped in after, Dylan Dennis got himself disqualified, because Dylan Dennis, first of all, he went down on his back and encouraged Logan Paul to get on top like it's a fucking MMA fight. He tried to do a double leg takedown on Jake Paul and failed. Sorry, Logan Paul and failed. He then tried to lock in a guillotine choke, and he failed.
Yep, saw that too.
When he went down to the mat.
Yeah, so
Logan tried to hit him when he was on the mat.
Yep.
Now, again, both of them were fucking horrible human beings. I was hoping it was either going to be a double knockout or it was going to be some celebrity deathmatch style finish where the lighting rig just falls and crushes the pair of them. But
wishful thinking.
I know, wishful thinking. But the DQ happens. Security has to step in because Dylan Dennis then decides after Logan's turned his back and is going to his corner, that he's going to start, he's going to charge at Logan. Security steps in. Dylan Dennis throws more fucking punches at the security guards than he did across those entire 6 rounds at Logan Paul. I mean, it was a fucking farce. The Americans paid $60 to watch that fight. Here it was £20.
On pay-per-view.
On pay-per-view, $25 if you ordered it through a TV provider like Sky or Virgin.
Mate.
£20 if you ordered it online. Then you get to the KSI Tommy Fury fight. Again, it was an absolute farce. The KSI, I know, is appealing the result of the fight because he landed more punches. He actually landed more punches than... a punch ratio, I should say. He landed 1 punch less than Tommy Fury, but he had a higher ratio of connecting punches.
Right.
Tommy Fury, he won by a majority decision, 57-56 on 2 of the scorecards. One of the scorecards was 57-57. The problem is that 57-57 scorecard, the fucking judge added it up wrong. It was 57-56 for Tommy Fury. But I mean, there's questions about how he won that fight, given that he had a point deducted, and it was the second round. He had a point deducted for punching KSI in the back of the head. Tommy Fury is a shit boxer. KSI is a shit boxer, but they convinced people to shell out all this money. I thought you would never top Bash at the Beach 99, WCW Bash at the Beach 99. Rowdy Roddy Piper versus Buff Bagwell for the worst ever fake boxing match of all time. But congratulations to KSI and Tommy Fury. You pulled it off.
That.
Well done.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have my own issues with actual boxing itself. Like, I dipped out in the early mid 2000s because the corruption was just fucking ridiculous. And I can't remember. I think it was like Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, where I think they called one match as a draw.
Oh yeah. The first match they called it as a draw.
Yeah, complete bullshit.
Even though it was blatantly obvious that Lennox Lewis had won the fight.
Yeah, that completely killed boxing for me. After that, I just couldn't. I tried so much after that, but knowing how fucking bullshit it was, I was just like, no, I'm done with boxing. I can't stand it anymore. And I used to love it. It was my second favorite sport to follow. Like in the 90s, I was just addicted to watching boxing. And we were lucky because for a long period, it hadn't gone on pay-per-view. And then it eventually went on pay-per-view. But even for the pay-per-view, I bought the pay-per-view for, was it Tyson and... Bruno? No. I didn't buy that one. I was too young for that one. But I bought a couple of pay-per-views, and it was the Evander Holyfield Lennox Lewis one where I paid, 15 quid. Not a lot of money, but still. And I was just like, no, that's bullshit. Never again. And that was the last time.
Lennox Lewis is not an entertaining fighter. He's a good fighter, but he's not an entertaining fighter. I paid for Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. Now like 4 a.m. or some shit. All these Vegas fights and LA fights piss me off because they're such an awkward time for us.
Yeah,
I'm falling asleep watching that shit, man. It's fucking bollocks.
Yeah, I mean, you never ever pay for a fucking Floyd Mayweather fight because he's just not a fight. He's not an entertaining fighter.
He's not an entertaining fight, but he have that 1 or 2 moments in the fight that shows you his genius. He is, in my opinion, arguably the greatest boxer of all time. And there are fleeting moments in his
but the Manny Pacquiao fight, he got No, I'm sorry, but again, it proves how corrupt and bullshit
They'll
boxing is.
they'll pass their prime. No,
Floyd
both
Mayweather has been
got-
very protected
Yeah.
in boxing as well, because that Manny Pacquiao fight was bullshit. Pacquiao won that fight, but they made it that Floyd Mayweather won
Really?
that fight. Yeah,
I don't
yes,
know,
he
man.
did. I went
I
back
mean, like,
and watched it.
I think on points, I think Mayweather did get the win, but here's the thing: Pacquiao absolutely destroyed his previous half dozen opponents going into that fight. I mean, he left their faces. He rearranged people's faces.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mayweather fight, it looked like he was an absolute shell. And
I know
Pacquiao after the fight. I know Pacquiao after the fight claimed that he had torn his shoulder before, during training.
Yeah,
and I thought, well, why the fuck did you take the fight then?
Yeah,
you should have called it off.
Maybe
the fact that you were injured.
I maybe saw it wrong.
Yeah, but honestly, I didn't think Pacquiao looked that great, and for me, it just kind of like
it wasn't a good fight though. Either way,
because what it is with Mayweather, he's so good defensively. Like the guy, he's impossible to hit. Like he's so difficult to hit, and I can't help but admire that, man. And then he gets his opponents in a position where they just get frustrated and they open themselves up for a shot, and he's
landed more punches on his words than he has on his fucking opponents. In a match. Yeah.
But,
we've actually got an update. KSI has instructed his lawyer to handle the appeal over the Tommy Fury decision. So he is actually he's taking this to the Professional Boxers Association.
Okay, let's see. The aftermath is more fun than the actual
egotistical, man. Like he doesn't want to have an L on his record. It's so sad. Just accept the result and then go for a rematch and try and beat him that way. But no, he doesn't want to do that. I mean, this is from the same guy who knocked out his previous opponent with an elbow. So I think maybe KSI should just shut the fuck up. Personally, so
yeah. Was it KSI knocked somebody out with an elbow, or was that Logan Paul?
Yeah, it was KSI. I saw that fight. He went for the right hook and then he followed through with an elbow. Probably not intentional, but I just remember the look on the opponent's face when he got hit by the elbow. Like he fucked him up with that, man. That elbow, he fucked him up. So.
Well, I always say when you're fighting KSI, aim for the forehead. There's loads to hit. But on that note,
I'm going proper like.
I'm
going like Winston the dog in the back of a car right now. My head's fucking bobbing. You know what I mean? So let's call it a day, please. I can't fucking keep my eyes open any longer.
Yeah. Although I'm still thinking I should contact the pay-per-view company. Is it DAZN? DAZN. Yeah, I want to contact them and just ask them if I can get a refund for the illegal stream that I watched of the fight.
Worth a try.
Probably.
Yeah, right. Okay then.
For sure.
We'll see everyone.
We'll be on tomorrow with some Loki. Check us out for that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, wrong button.